Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out there, and I'm back in the studio this morning on a Monday morning after a game against the Celtics, which was frustrating, but also promising in some ways. Also, so yeah, we got to look at this game from different perspectives. We can't just look at it as wow, we lost, we suck. That's not true. But at the same time, are we really doing things exactly right now? No. No, we are not. And well, that's why we do the show. We're going to react to the game. I was at the game. I sat 14 rows behind the Raptors bench last night, and I damn for sure made sure I yelled defense the whole entire game. I tried. In some ways, I yelled defense in the first half, and it felt in vain because of the very poor defense the Raptors have. Like 70 plus points at halftime. Seriously, Raptors, what the hell are you doing with your lives? Why can you play such bad defense like that? Seriously. But they did something special in the third quarter and came back and made it a game again, took the lead. Alas, in the fourth quarter, a stagnation happened again. And the Celtics executed in the last 5 minutes. I don't know what the hell we were doing, honestly. So yeah, we'll do the reaction to the game. You can call me if you have the number. The line is open, and you can call me, and we can talk about the game. And yeah, let's just do it. I got stars of the game. I got my perspectives from being in the arena and seeing how it all went down, and just all kinds of stuff. Classic card. You know what we do here. That's right. All right, let's start with Trevor J first with his words of wisdom. Hate no one, no matter how much they've wronged you. Live humble, no matter how wealthy you become. Think positively, no matter how hard life is. And give much, even if you're been given little. Forgive all. Yeah. Yeah, I like all this. This is all pretty on point right here. Hate no one, no matter how much they've wronged you. Yeah, that's, you know what? Hate is such an immature emotion. It's an ignorant emotion. It's something that if you don't truly understand that we're all connected to the creator and the spirit of life, that you're when you hate somebody else, you hate something about yourself. It's not anything to do with them. Because in some ways, every single person in this entire world, every single living organism, trees, insects, microscopic bacteria, is all one life. And as we poison our natural world, as we poison ourselves, we poison each other, and we poison what God created, which is us and the world. And that's the most unchristian thing in the world, is to poison yourself, to not respect what the creator created, and to do that. That's really bad. So hate is poison. And when you hate somebody else, you actually hate yourself, and you need to be introspective and realize what that part of you that hates is where it comes from, the hurt part of you. It's not about the other person. It's not about the other person. Humble, no matter how wealthy you become. Yeah, yeah. People can be wealthy and be good people. I'm not saying all rich people are horrible. It's just that most horrible people that are ruining the world are rich people. And you can be a good person and have a lot of money, and not be arrogant, not try and be above everyone. The best very, very rich people treat they say the janitor the same as the CEO. And that's important mindset to have, because we are all equal, and money is just a made up thing to help shallow people feel better about themselves. I mean, that's the truth right there too. We won't drop straight truths from the words of wisdom of Trevor. Well, hate is hating yourself. And being arrogant about being wealthy or having more money than other people is also a character flaw, as in you are insecure and you're a sad, pathetic person that needs to feel above people. Because there's a lot of people that have a lot of money that don't feel the need to do that. In fact, they treat everybody with the same respect. That's a more well conceived and realized person. Think positively no matter how hard life is. Well, that's the best way to get through the hard stuff, is to stay positive. That's right. That's right. In some ways, the settings of your life aren't what define you. It's how you react and you deal with them that defines you. Man, I'm getting gold off here. This is like 4 quarters with Trevor. on the words of wisdom. That's right. And give much, even if you've been given little, forgive all. That's Trevor J's credo right there. This person in the grocery store behind him in line ain't going to give him anything in his life, probably, but he will turn around and buy their groceries for them. In some ways, that's just that's ultimately the teachings of Jesus right there. That's it right there. It's too bad that the government of the United States does not have a Christian attitude at this point, that feed the poor, house the poor, take care of the sick, the needy. No, their policy is now to let them die. And that is not Christian. That's antichrist, honestly. Thank you for your words of wisdom, Trevor J. Wow. That was a 4 bulletin point one right there. And there was some very heavy truths right there about hate and about arrogance and wealthiness and trying to be above other people. You are never, ever above anybody. When you go on the ground, you go in the ground the same, just as the people you look down on. That's just the damn truth. All right, let's keep going. Trevor's saying this, especially, all right, never stop praying for the best for everyone. That's right. Pray for everyone. Pray for this world. I do that all the time. You know, I do a daily prayer on game days, especially, where I pray that the Raptors will stay healthy and not get hurt. But I turn around and say the same thing for our opponent right after that. I say, dear Lord above, please protect the Raptors when they take the court tonight, when they're going to play at basketball. And please protect the other team they're playing also. Protect all the athletes around the world that play in sports, everybody all over the place. Let's protect everyone, all citizens, all humanity, all living organisms from the cruelty that humans would do to them, whether it's through government systems, whether it's polluting the environment, whether whatever it is. Let's protect everybody. Genocide, murder, subjugation, you know, all of it. That's what I say in my prayer. And I don't even pray that the Raptors will win. Nope. No, because they're going to win. They're going to win on their own merits and win because they deserve to. But I pray for the safety of everyone. And that includes everybody. You that's listening to me right now. Everything. The little grasshopper that's hidden underneath the grass right now, hiding because it's trying to stay warm for the winter and come back in the spring. I'm praying for everybody. I'm praying for people in boats off the coast of South America that may be worried that a stupid ass U.S. bomber might blow them up all of a sudden, murder them. Honestly, you know, I'm praying for everybody. Yeah, that's the best way to be. Trevor's saying this: Raptors were still tired in the first half of the game, lots of turnovers. Yeah, I don't think that's what it was, man. You know, being there and seeing it in person, you know, they're a little off. You know, I think they're sloppy. I think they're careless. I think that there's a lot of talk after the game and the post-game interviews about time off when you're not on the court and doing things with the basketball team. What are you doing with your life? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you getting in the right mental headspaces so that when you do come back to the arena to play, are you at the absolute preparedness? Because the Celtics, they're a very professional outfit, and they had run a tight ship. And Coach Joe's a maniac. He's a maniac. He probably has a very, very high level of expectations from his players. And I know Darko has the same thing, but these guys, what are they doing in their off time to be prepared and go through the NBA season without anything causing a detriment? You know, we found out last night that Brandon Ingram don't sleep at night sometimes. Yeah. He admitted it in his post-game interview last night. He says, sometimes I get so into thinking about games coming up and dealing with games and thinking about what I want to do on the court, I don't sleep. I stay up all night. And there's been nights I stay up all night. I'm like, dude, don't do that, bro. This is serious shit. Your rest is important. I mean, that would make a lot of sense to some of the stuff that's been going on with you. If you're missing nights of sleep, because I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I mean, we could guess some of the stuff you're doing all night, but also at the same time, it's like, you got to rejuvenate. You got to get your head right. And in some ways he's saying he's thinking about the game. He's overthinking about the game. And he's staying up all night thinking about the game. And then it's sunrise. That's no good, Brandon. You need to sleep, because in some ways it's showing up on the court, because we can see you're a little bit tired. We can tell you're a little lackadaisical. We can tell you're not totally sharp. So you need to prioritize this, man. And you told on yourself last night after the game when you said this, you know, Tracy McGrady, he used to oversleep. Maybe you should talk to Tracy McGrady. Tracy came through and came to OVO Center with us and talked to the team. Maybe you need to take Brandon aside, Tracy, and say, hey, Brandon, this is how I used to do it. I used to sleep too much, man. He used to sleep like 20 hours a day sometimes. Crazy. McGrady. Yeah, this is true. This is completely true. When Tracy McGrady was a young rookie, teenager on the Raptors, very young, he slept a lot when he came to Toronto. He was sleeping a lot. So I don't know. I mean, whatever we can do with this, Brandon, I think it'll improve your game. I think you had a good game last night for the most part, but sloppy turnovers, mistakes here and there. But he did get his offense going, and he did pretty good offensively, efficient-wise. But, man, the 4 turnovers, as he put it, it's he's being very aggressive on his offense, and the turnovers happen sometimes when you're aggressive. I'm just saying, bro, tighten up. Tighten up. Because, listen, there's a couple of guys in our starting lineup. They're offensive players that do very, very good on offense, but they are holes on defense, and we are having problems because y'all are not holding the standard of how to hold the other team. And that's why the Celtics get a 77 first half, because there's a couple of dead notes on defense. And honestly, Darko, I would say this right now. You need to find a better mix and balance between offense and defense in your lineups, because you're having lineups that aren't even offensively that good scoring, and they're absolutely porous on defense. You got to have one or the other, man. I'm going to put that on you, Rajakovic, right now. Either you put a lineup out there like the lineup you had in the third quarter. It was very defensive. They got us back in the game. And that lineup should have came back in at the end of the game. If there's something we learned Christmases ago in Dallas about Nick Nurse and Kyle Lowry and Chris Boucher and Rondé Hollis Jefferson and Terrence Davis, that, ride with what got you there. Why the hell did you have to put all the starters back in at the end of the game? You should have played AJ more. You should have. You know what? You really look good when you put Elijah in, man. You know why? Because Elijah Martin's a dog like that. In fact, you could have picked Elijah or Chucky, but you gave Elijah his NBA debut, and it was fantastic. I was so happy to see University of Florida's Elijah Martin take his first ever NBA game. I like the look because you know what was working, Darko? You had 2 very good defensive guards, small guards, to go after Pritchard and White, because those 2 guys are annoying as fuck, and they hit a lot of shots. And, I hate to say it, Manuel, but you're not chasing these guys around right on defense, and you can't give them a sliver of daylight, because the Celtics will hit their threes if you let them breathe. So I totally loved when Shed and Martin were out there together, because they tied them up good. Now, you saw that, Darko, didn't you? Then why the fuck wouldn't you put one of them back in at the end of the game to hold these guys down like they did in the third quarter? That's the thing I'm pissed off about, is that you saw the recipe for winning this game in the third quarter. You had the right right guys out there, but you didn't come back with a hybrid of the starters with a couple of those guys out there. Ochai Agbaji, extremely, extremely valuable last night. A defensive-minded player. AJ Lawson, a lightning blur up and down the court, making things happen on offense and very much playing very good defense too. I don't give a shit if some of these guys make $30 million a year. If they don't play defense in crunch time to help us get stops to overtake the lead in the fourth quarter, why the fuck are you playing them? I'm serious. In some ways, if Brandon ain't going to go to sleep at night and he's tired, let him rest at the end of the game even. I know he's such a potent threat, and he had so much important shots throughout the game. He was a leading scorer for us. But in some points, you know what? LaMelo can be sat by Charlotte, and it helps them win. I'm just saying, you can play your players when you want to, as you need to. Do you really have to abide by the salary cap and who's getting paid what and what? Is this the minutes? It has to be this because this is how much they get paid, like Evo told me at the coach's open house? That's bullshit. You should be playing AJ Lawson. You should be playing Elijah Martin, because he'll tie up Derek White and stop him from making key threes at the end of the game. It's that simple. You did what I asked you. I asked you yesterday morning, play the 905 guys, and you did it. I was so happy. I was like, man, yeah, these guys are fatigued. Let's get these guys in who are 10-0, kicking major ass out in Mississauga. Let's get them a look on the Raptors and show what they can be doing, because they are defensive badasses in the backcourt. And in some ways, you should be utilizing these weapons as role players on the main squad at times where it could be very, very beneficial to help the Raptors win. I'm just saying. You saw the formula. The formula was presented to you, and it came back and ate up a 20-point lead and got you back in the game and got you the lead. But you went away from it in the fourth quarter. Why would you do that? Let's use our brains here. Scotty involved in it, of course. Scotty is in the middle of it all. He can do this the whole time thing because he's going to play both sides, and he will make big plays happen. And that's another question I have. Why didn't Scotty bully ball the whole fucking game? We saw him do whatever the fuck he wanted to do during the game. And why aren't we going in the end straight to him? Why aren't we overdoing this? Why aren't we just feeding Scott and Jakob? Because they can eat the Celtics alive in the inside like they did most of the game. Like, why don't we do that at the end of the game? Like, why don't we give the ball to Scott and let him go to work down low and take Josh Minott to school and Jordan Walsh and all those other guys? Why not? I mean, it was working all game. Once again, we see things that are working all game. Why aren't we going back to them at the end to make it work to win? Why not? Why not? You have it. You've seen it. It's kind of dumb in some ways. I love Coach Rajakovic. I think he's amazing. In some ways, what he saw last night is good for later. Because damn for sure, you better be playing Elijah Martin and AJ Lawson more as the season goes on. Because those guys are winners. And those guys help you win. I'm just saying, effort may be more important currency on the Raptors right now than talent. That's what I say right here. Effort. Who's playing hard? Sandro? Okay, you play more. Who's playing hard? Oshai? Okay, you play more. Jacoby, what are you doing? Nah, you ain't doing it. You got to sit even though you started. It's that simple. Let's let these guys go out there each game and try and run in the game, and let's see who's actually trying. Let's see who's actually putting in the effort, the scrappiness. You know, because Darko said this last night after the game. He said the Celtics were more scrappy than us. Yeah, they were. They met the ball faster than us. We got guys out there that are passing lackadaisically, and there's guys trying to get the pass, but they're not meeting the pass. And the Celtics run in and take the ball from them. That's a bad sign. That's a lackadaisicalness. That's a laziness. You're going to pass the ball like this, and the guy's just going to expect to get the ball like that? No, fuck that. The Celtics are in the middle. They took the ball. No, you got to fucking throw some zip. You got to come at them like they're coming at you with the same energy, the same scrappiness, the same kind of, I'm going to strip the ball from you. I'm going to come and foul you at the lane. I'm going to come and take every loose ball. I'm going to go get every rebound. Where's that energy from the Raptors right now? Because listen, that's Raptor basketball. That's how we have to play. That's how we've had to play for years now. And all of a sudden, y'all are going to take away the recipe that's supposed to be in your blood, in your DNA as a Toronto Raptor for how you're supposed to fucking play? You can't let the Celtics out-Raptor the Raptors, but you did. You let them out-Raptor you. And that's a losing formula for the Raptors every time. You can't let the other team out-scrap you. You can't let the other team out-beat you to the loose balls. You can't let that other team look more like how you're supposed to look. No. That's how you get beat. That's how you get beat. It is amazing that the Toronto Raptors can get a 77-point half laid on them in the first half and still come back and compete to almost win. That is a good positive thing right there. And listen, this Celtics team right here, even though they lost a lot of guys this summer, they're only missing Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown's playing at a very high level, and they have their shit together. The Celtics are playing like a badass team right now. They're playing winning basketball, and you know what? They're hard to beat. You got to play that much better. And in some ways, we could have won this game. We could be a better team than the Celtics, but we're a little immature still. We're a little immature. We don't exactly get it as young players, exactly how much it takes to win in the NBA. Some of the winning came easy this year so far, but they don't understand you got to be more better all around to win in the NBA, especially against tough teams like the Celtics and the Lakers. These tough lessons in recent games with this, either one of those games or the Hornets. You know, you can't be wasting your life. You can't be half-assing. No half-stepping. You guys got to come correctly to the court and the arena every night, like they're saying, prepared mentally to come out there and destroy the other team and do as best as you can. You guys, in some ways, I know you need a rest day. You were tired. But in some ways, you should have that rejuvenation and that energy to come back and punch back right away. But no, you let the Celtics run you off the court immediately at the beginning of the game. Nah. So it's really a synopsis right there, what I seen. Yeah, it was fun at the game. It was really nice to go with my dad. I've lost my voice to an extent. You can kind of hear me, but I'm pretty raspy. I saw Scotty's baby sitting at front court with Alyssa in Alyssa's lap next to Brian Macon. So cute to see Scotty's little baby there. Saw Sandro's girlfriend again. Said hi to her after the game. She's really nice. Uh, yeah, it's just fun to be in the building. I saw that a lot of the Raptors pounding around with Chris Boucher at different times, whether it's the beginning of the game, before anybody was in there, no cameras on. Bobby Webster stood and talked to Chris for about 15 minutes while people were shooting around. A long, long time. Bobby talked to Chris Boucher. Shelby was standing there too, talking to Chris at the same time. Very, very much a best friend of Chris Boucher. I saw Chris palling around with Alvin Williams. I saw Chris palling around with Matt Devlin. I saw Chris palling around with Jamal Shedd, Jacoby Walter, RJ Barrett. All these different guys came around and spent time with Chris and really, connected with him and caught up with him for a second. And that's the stuff you won't see on the camera. It's only what you'll see in the arena. And yeah, it was special. Of course, Donnie Wahlberg was there. New Kids on the Block. Whoa, whoa. The Raptors are hanging tough. Yeah. Of course, he's a huge Celtics fan. But yeah, it was a fun game. That they had mascots versus kids. There was all kinds of goofy stuff at the game. And you know what? I was really hoping the Raptors would come back and make it a really special, memorable moment. Goebel, Maru, and Twardowski were kind of full of shit, but they were kind of fair too. I mean, the Raptors just didn't play right. You got to play better to win. You just got to play better to win. All right, let me keep going with you guys in the chat and see what y'all are saying here. And once again, Seymour's here. You can call me. Anybody else that's got the number, you can call me too. Let's see. Trevor's saying they better be ready for New York on Tuesday for the NBA Cup. They can't play like that with the Knicks. Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Damn sure. And the Knicks ain't going to be coming in here trying to be easy to beat. No, this is a very important game. Brandon talked about this after the game about, getting mentally prepared for this game against the Knicks. And he mentioned the game last week in New York that they lost. And he's saying that all of us need to remember what happened in New York last week and bring it to the game on Tuesday. So, yeah, remember the shit that's been happening in the last 3 games too, Brandon. And get some sleep, bro. Please just go to sleep. Get some sleep, Brandon. Please, my guy. Yeah, Bryce is here. Good to see Bryce Lawson holding it down in Kentucky. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. I need an AJ Lawson jersey. I can't find one, and I'd love to get my hands on a Lawson jersey. Of course, Bryce Lawson. Bryce Lawson needs that AJ Lawson. Yeah, I'm with you on that. There's a couple different ways you could probably do it, man. I mean, you could probably order one somehow, some way. If you can't find one in NBA, you could probably find a Mississauga 905 one. I don't know, man. I don't order jerseys through NBA.com, so I don't know exactly how it works. But I'll bet you could somehow find a Lawson jersey, man, and get that 0. It's a 0. That's right. Bryce is also saying, I absolutely hate the Celtics, man. 47 3-point attempts out of 92 shots is disgusting. Yeah, and I guess the Raptors just didn't get the memo. In some ways, Darko, you either do 2 things. You either stay at home and man-to-man everybody and try not to double at all so nobody's getting left, or you play guys like Elijah and Chucky and AJ, and you get these guys covered up and they run out, because that's part of the problem right now. Some of the main Raptors who are playing a lot of minutes are not closing out. They're not getting to the open shooters to run at them. And I seen you last night having to tell certain guys to put their arms up. Or Darko's yelling, Eagles, like this at these guys. These guys should be doing it automatically. That should just be prerequisite. If you're playing defense, put your arms up and play defense. Too many people holding their arms down, doing just like this. No, you need to have your arms up. And, seriously, the open threes, you just need a shade of daylight. And it's apparently Sam Hauser don't need a whole lot. He could be very near the half court line. And yeah, they shoot a lot of threes, a lot of freaking threes. So there's the game plan, the memo. Why aren't we orienting our defensive plan around the fact that we know that they're going to do this? We know they're going to do this. That's right. The Celtics are annoying for sure. And yesterday sucked because in some ways, like a lot of Celtics fans come to the game from around this area, and they are so cocky and they're annoying. Yeah, they're just annoying. There was one moment at the baseline where a Celtics fan, a lady, was walking across the baseline, and the Raptor was standing there, and she tried to like act like she wanted to fight the Raptor like this on the baseline, like she was some sort of weird human mascot or something like that. I don't know. They do have a human mascot in Boston, a leprechaun idiot named Lucky. But anyway, after she walked by him, he did like this funny ass thing. He's like this or something like that. It's hilarious. It was perfect. The Raptors so smart. That was a good moment. I thought that was hilarious. Let's see. Trevor's saying this. Darko says he's demanding more from everyone. He sent a message to the young guys. If you need more minutes now, all they have to do is prove themselves. That's what I'm saying, man. You make it a merit system, a reward system. You got to reward guys like Oshai. If they're tying people up, they're going up above and beyond and getting blocks. You got somebody going to clean up the boards. Whoever's deciding to be a good rebounder that night, you better play them. If somebody's going and closing out and keeping their arms up and they're doing a good job trying to contain somebody like Jaylen Brown, you got to play them. You can't just have a formula. I'm going to play these guys for these minutes at this point in this time. No, if AJ Lawson's very effective and he kicks a lot of ass, you should be making room for him to play for the rest of the game. Because, seriously, I think that if you played Elijah and Shed as the backcourt longer in the fourth quarter, you would have tied up the Celtics and we would have won the game. Seriously. Because they run everything mostly through their point guards and their bullshit and the power of Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. And if you tie them up with a small guard like Shed was doing a good job. Shed was a huge catalyst for the comeback in the third. And Elijah didn't score or do anything, but he was tying things up. He was keeping after people. And that was the ability to have stops was in the third quarter. We didn't have ability to have stops any other point in the game. We didn't stop them in the first half at all. We stopped them in the fourth. No, not really. At the end of the game, they got what they wanted right from the last 5 minutes. Well, that's a problem right there. That means you play, a couple of offensive players, the guys that are both ways, that'd be great, like Scotty. And you get some defensive-minded guys out there to help you get those stops in the fourth quarter. Because this man, you could have absolutely won the game last night, man. That's right. Black Mamba's here. Freak fire. Fire. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's see. Spiritually saying, good morning. Good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Had we played the whole game like the third quarter, easy win. But the Celtics once again went back to their three-point avalanche. Huge difference when they hit. Yeah. We'll do the team stats first. We'll go out of order a little bit. I did do 5 stars for the game last night because I did feel like there were 5 Raptors that need to be noted. But yeah, they shot. We shot better than them honestly last night. Near the end of the game, they started missing way more. And we were doing a better job of agitating them, but they still find these dagger shots here and there. But yeah, we shot 49%. They shot 48%. But the big difference in the game, and this is where they won it, was they had 20 made threes, and the Raptors only had 9 made threes. And Battle was out. Grady has been ineffective as a three-point shooter this season. Jacoby Walters hit and miss, and last night he was miss. Oshai finally made a corner 3, which was nice to see finally. It's crazy. They showed the stats from last year. At this point in the year, Oshai had like a ton of threes already made at this point in the year. And that was the first 3 he made this season last night, that corner 3 that he made. Free throws, they weren't too bad. We got 7 more free throw attempts than them. And we only missed 3 free throws, so I can't be super upset. Although 2 of the free throws missed were Brandon, 2 in a row, which is unprofessional and just looks stupid. I don't know if that's because he was tired. I don't know. 42 rebounds for us and 41 for them, so we didn't get absolutely killed on the boards. Keita was offensive rebounding annoyingly. He was a little bit of a problem, but it wasn't like it was a whole bunch of them, and the offensive rebounding was overly bad. They did get 14 offensive rebounds. The assist to turnover ratios for the Celtics, 24-11. So they got a 2-1. And we got 22-13. So it's a little worse. Only 22 assists. That's also kind of a marker saying we're not moving the ball enough and getting enough guys involved in different ways. So yeah, it sucks. And they got way better on steals and blocks. 8 steals and 9 blocks for them. We didn't manage to get that much. We got 5 steals and 3 blocks. Yeah, it's tough. Points in the paint, we won 56-42. It's the 3-pointers. 23 pointers to 9, and that's a 121 to 113 victory for them. The stagnation at the end of the game. Meanwhile, they're hitting dagger threes, and we ain't doing nothing to help ourselves come back. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying the RJ slander needs to stop. We clearly see why he's important to the squad. I don't understand why Darko sat AJ after he was such a spark and helped us coming back. I know. He was doing it on both ends. He hit a few threes. He was doing fine on defense. He's very active. He's all over the place. He's making things happen, helping to get turnovers, working really well off Scotty. Yeah, I didn't understand that. In some ways, it's like, be more flexible. Don't make this a Dwayne Casey thing here. Seriously, Darko, where your inflexibility, much like Dwayne Casey had an inflexibility that was his Achilles heel, is that you are too set to not improvise with your end of game lineup to allow people that have absolutely earned it to play at the end of the game, because that's the winning team to win. And that team may not have some of the starters in it at the end of the game. If you show an inflexibility on this, and this is a pattern that goes forward, this may be your Achilles heel. This may be the thing that eventually people will say you need to be fired for. So be aware of this, Darko, please. If you do watch me, if you do have an ear to my show, be aware of this. Because in some ways, like all of us saw last night, your personnel choices could have won the game last night. And I don't want you to continue to make mistakes like this in the future, because people will come for your head on this. Seriously. Because I can directly link you to the loss last night. Normally, I won't come at you if it's like, oh, it's in some ways it's the players out there. They can do it. They're in charge. They have to make it happen. But no, if you don't put the right players out there, Darko, that's the problem. And I'm not saying Darko needs to be fired or anything like that. But if this is going to be like Dwayne Casey, where in the playoffs he failed for us because he was too inflexible on changing his strategy from game to game. Don't make this your blind spot, Darko. Don't make this your blind spot. And roll the dice with Elijah Martin, even if it seems like it's dangerous. Those young guys are hungry, and they may go above and beyond in a way that you really, really enjoy. Let's just put it that way. That's right. That's right. Neil's here. He's put his owls out. Is that an OVO owl? Is that an OVO owl? Blackhawk saying this. Chris got his tribute. I'm going to chop last night's loss to team feeling nostalgic about Chris. They missed their buddy. Yeah, that's not why. But it was really nice to see Chris get the love, and he was touched. In fact, let's go to the Instagram stories, because Chris is on there talking about last night. First of all, we got Jared Roden and him in action in Paris, and there's him getting a dunk. That's pretty cool. I like that. There he is guarding the inbounds, and there he's getting a dunk again. Look at Jared Roden with his hair all out. He's just having a nice time over in France, being a professional basketball player and an international professional basketball player. You got to love that. Lindsey Dunn is at winter meetings for baseball in Orlando. Must be lucky to be in Florida. It's minus 13 here. Mamu showing some highlights from last night. He was interesting last night. I really like some of the stuff that Mamu did. Like, I like that dunk there where they're showing where he dunked on Derek White. Oh, man, he really threw it down on his head. That was awesome. And there he is coming in the game with AJ, and he's calling him brudda. Yeah, AJ Lawson's a cool guy. He needs to play more on the Raptors. I'm telling you. There's Chris's Instagram. And there he is waving to the Raptors crowd. It's saying hometown nod for CB. They played a video in the arena where Chris talked about it's very special to play for Toronto and play for the Canada's team and nationally. And it's really meant a lot to me. And, also they talked about how he played 400 games in a Raptors jersey. And, the crowd was very, very effusive and loving towards him and yelling. And, people were cheering for him, not just during the tribute, but at different times during the night when he was coming on and off the court. People yelled to him. And I want to say this also. Chris Boucher, after the game, went to the portal and signed so many jerseys and every kind of stuff for the fans right around the portal to go in and out of the court. He stood there and did that for a while last night after the game, because he's like that and he loves the fans. So yeah, Chris, we love you too. And glad to see you get that tribute. You know, the great Raptors like you and Fred and Pascal and OG, you guys deserve your credits as champions and also as a great, upstanding, longtime alumni, forever Raptor, Chris. Thank you. That's right. And he posted the tribute to him like 5 times on his Instagram, y'all. He even posted the full tribute to come here, put my talent on the table, and just show I'm capable of doing in Toronto. That's right. AJ Lawson posting some of his highlights from the Raptors game last night. There he is with Sandro coming in the game. He had a couple of really nice threes. I felt like he was real spark plug, and I just don't understand. I mean, he did get in the fourth for a little while, but then he got taken out again. And man, baby steps. Darko, if you saw that synergy with Shed and Martin, you need to get that going again. I'm telling you right now. There's Pascal. He's in the car again. And guess what? It was Sunday. So who knows these bangers? Who knows these bangers? And this song he's singing is like it's like a kid's song, I think, or something, man. It's about Tiny Dancer or something like that. I don't know what this song is. Tiny Dancer. It's not Elton John, Tiny Dancer. But yeah, Siakam has got his Sunday bangers. He's so happy. I love Siakam so much, man. He's living his best life. And I love that you have a Sunday bangers segment. Siakam, keep going, man. Keep going. Raptor 95 had a fun night last night. There were a lot of mascots in the house last night. They were doing goofy stuff. Stripes was in, and they had the Buffalo, Billy the Buffalo from the Bills, and Carlton and Jason of the Argonauts. And they did a whole Olympics against kids at halftime. It's pretty funny. The mascots were inept, and the kids won. That's right. There was a tug of war. There was a basketball competition. There was like tossing chickens over your head or something like that. It was crazy, man. But yeah, those mascots are hilarious. And well, the kids should have won, and they did. They did win. Oh, it's so goofy, man. But yeah, good to see Stripes and Jason and Billy the Buffalo in the house. Yeah, there you go. Fred VanVleet's got a clip from his latest episode of Unguarded, and this is hilarious. Fred's so cool, man. Like, all right, he's got a guy on his show where he's talking to him, and he's directly confronting him about his takes on when Houston acquired him. He said this is like a guy who's a fan, like he may be the Rockets freak or something like that. He's some dude who has a podcast or something in Rockets land. And Fred's on his show, and he's saying, when they got me, you said I was overrated, and you said that I was no good, and you weren't happy I was on here. He's like directly confronting this dude, and it's hilarious, man. It's so funny because the dude, I don't know what the guy says to him because it cuts off, but Fred's laying into him right away. It's like, it's something that you probably always wanted to see because of all the haters that Fred has had. Watch Fred on his podcast talk to a hater and what he says to him. I think it's so cool that he did this, man. I think that his podcast is going to get better and better because it's going to be the most real podcast out of all of them. He's confronting a hater on this one. There's Coach Andrew Jones's Instagram, and his daughter Heidi is doing the dribble drills around some oil cans and putting up work for the basketball. Heidi and Ava will be badasses in the WNBA someday. I'm telling you right there. There's Toronto Tempo with a Sephora interview. I believe that's Victoria, the tennis player, who's been very, very Vicky Maboko in Tempo Sephora ad out right now. That's fantastic stuff. Great cross sports promotion. And yeah, there's your Instagram stories right there. Fred confronts a hater on the next episode of Unguarded. I want to see this, man. It's like the teaser is good, Fred. I want to see what you say to this guy. Oh my gosh, it'd be so good, man. It'll be so, so good. That's right. Bryce is saying this. Who's slandering RJ while he's hurt? What the fuck? Who has the audacity? Yeah, I've seen dumb trades on Reddit still where they put RJ into trades going somewhere else. It's just people that don't like that fit. That people that just don't want Toronto to have Toronto. And it's just hater. It's hater. It's all hater. That's right. I don't even think these people are Raptors fans that are slandering RJ at this point. They're imposters. That's right. Reggie's here. A rough patch of games. Still time to get better. Just play through it. Yeah, there's always the right time to get right is the next one. And the next one's a whole can of worms. Now, this will be a good test in some ways, Smooth, if you think about it. Raptors, if you can't get up to get back at the Charlotte Hornets, if you can't get up to play against the great LeBron, If you can't get up to save your spot in the Atlantic Division from going underneath the Boston Celtics, because you are now, we're third in the Atlantic now. We're fourth in the East, but there's two Atlantic Division teams above us right now in the top four. It's kind of crazy how tough the Atlantic Division is right now. We are very good division. Yeah, very good division. If you can't get up for these games, can you get up for the Knicks on Tuesday in a game that's a knockout round where the winner goes to Vegas and the other person does not? Can you get up for that at least? I don't know. We got to see if you guys are. I'm get the stick and I'll poke you and see. Oh, you guys waking up? Hello, are you there, Raptors? Can you do this? Can you come correct to the arena with sleep and play at the highest level that you can and come in with premeditation, maybe pre-visualization? Maybe like the Knicks are going to be like this, and I'm going to come in there do this, and I'm going to kick their ass just like Magic Johnson would pre-visualize his wins when he played for the Lakers. You could do this, Raptors. It's a very, very powerful thing. Pre-visualization, prediction, thinking about it ahead. Maybe that's why Brandon's not sleeping. I'm thinking about it all. Raptors freak. What are you talking about? That's what I've been doing. That's why I'm not sleeping. Maybe too much then. Brandon, dial it down then. But other guys, maybe you need to pre-visualize. And Brandon, you go to sleep. How about that? Yeah, we do that. That right there. That's right. Cream's here. Good to see Cream Thomas. AJ Lawson, not saying anyone needs to go to 905, but Lawson is 25. He's ready for the burn. I agree with this. In some ways, we got to understand two ways, and keeping people on G League is a stash. A lot of teams have really good players that shouldn't be in G League that are on G League team just to have an extended roster and to be able to have guys around. I get this. I totally get this. In some ways, the flexibility of the open roster spot is, AJ, you do so well. You know what? We convert you. You become a full roster spot, and we still have a two-way to go get somebody else. There's some flexibility Bobby's got right now. We're still waiting to see what he is. I was yelling at him last night. I just want to say I was doing my part. I was 14 rows up from him, standing at the Raptors bench, saying, Bobby, when are you going to get a big? When are you going to get a big, Bobby? I was yelling that at him seriously last night. I was before the game. Neil's saying this. I suspect the Raptors have to confirm their scouting reports are accurate and that these guys are truly following it. Attention is required for the details. Well, there was a lot of talk last night after the game that some of the players are not using their time away from basketball stuff in a productive or healthy way so that they're prepared for games correctly. And I don't know if it's like going and doing crazy physical activities that would wear them out more. I don't know if it's they're not doing things that feed their minds and souls to be more centered and not distracted. There's all kinds of different things it could be, and it's private. We don't need to know the exact details, but call them out. Say y'all need to be prepared, and what you do in your off time, it affects how you play on the court. So make sure you're living your life right when it doesn't have to do with basketball. That was part of the message after the game last night right there. MJ saying this, good news. Fiercey Jr. and her school team, Division III, beat a league team in Division I to win bronze at the Chris Paulin tournament. Fun, sad story. Fiercey Jr. had a driving lesson, which are hard. Driving lesson, you mean like driving in the court or driving a car? I don't know. Is she learning how to drive? Seriously, she had a driving lesson? I don't know. Well, either way, congratulations that they beat a higher team and that they won a bronze. And fantastic. I love this. I hope Fiercey Jr.'s coaching team is doing well also. I do. Yeah. Kareem saying this, Martin and Lawson. I say Martin and Lawrence. Martin and Lawson is fucking hungry, man. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If some of these other guys are jaded and lackadaisical and sitting on a pile of minutes and like, oh, I'm going to be fine. I don't have to do jack shit. Well, get those hungry guys out there. Those guys who have shit to prove. Those guys who are trying to make the league so bad. That's what I'm saying. These guys are like dogs on a leash, and you got to unleash them, Darko, and let them go and get out there and run around and be unleashed. Chucky, too. All three of those two ways are Steele's masters. They're great defensive players. If we're having problems with backcourt things in defense, use them as role players. They don't need to shoot. They could be just guys out there. I mean, Elijah's going to make the threes, and AJ will too. If you let them have open shots, they'll make their threes. That's what I've learned in 10-0 with 905. They'll make their threes. Chucky, it's a little more suspect. But Chucky can be that backup point guard that can actually run like Shed does, and he may not have to shoot so much, but he could get you steals, and he will play point of attack, half court, full court defense that's absolutely stifling. So I'd say, your personnel and utilize them as you need to, and not necessarily using your personnel because of how much they get paid. You got to play the guys that are hungry, the guys who go out there and do the work, because we got too many guys lackadaisical, not doing things right, and they're half-assed. There's too much of that out there. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying this: the Raptors played terrible, with the exception of Scotty, Bi, Shed, Lawson, and Sandro. Fans are excited about the comeback, but let's not forget it's the Celtics that shoot a lot of threes and allow teams. Forgive my ego for trying to will them as a fan in the arena, yelling defense like crazy. They are down by 20-something in the first half, and I'm yelling defense consistently the whole entire game, every single time the Celtics have the ball. And some people around me like, why are you doing this, bro? Well, at a certain point, they start coming back, and they're like, oh, shit, I actually see why this dude does it. Because the Raptors came back in the third and got the lead again. Then everybody wanted to do it with me at that point. Imagine if our crowd actually did what I do every game, all of us, all the time. How hard would it be to play in our arena as an offense and try and score with the whole arena being Lex? Seriously, that's what I want. That's why there's a little girl sitting behind me, and she joined me in yelling defense the whole entire game. That's a legacy I want to lay for myself. I've been building the crowd in the Scotiabank Arena for 25 years. I when they opened the building as a food and beverage staff, I came out there and told people to get loud. I helped that arena get louder and louder and louder to get to this point. I want to go to another level, Raptors fans. Be like me. Come to the game. Don't waste your voice. Be a part of the game. Yell. Defense. Every single time the opponent has the ball. I don't give a shit if we're down by 2 or down by 30. You do it. I don't give a shit if it's a jump ball and the game just started and there's just a whole lot of game to go. Do it right away. I don't give a shit if it's the end of the game and it's over and we cannot win. Do it anyway, just to practice the habit of doing it. If we get more and more people like me down there, if y'all go to the game and do what I do, we can make the culture change in our arena to make our arena even harder to play in. Our arena is already a hard place to play, but we could do this better, y'all. We could do this better as fans. And we could have a college atmosphere in there. Just like a place like where Brandon and RJ played in Duke, where the fans are crazy and they get real loud and it's that college atmosphere, and it can really help a team. It could give them energy. It could hurt the other team from trying to make it because you're so damn loud. They're trying to call plays and you're yelling defense. Why can't we do this? We woke up in the third quarter and y'all heard it while we were trying to come back. You only want to do it when you feel like it's worth it because you feel like it'll pay off. Fucking do it anyway, all the time. That's what I say. That's what I say. I know, unlike some of the Raptors, I came correct yesterday, and I did what I was supposed to do the whole entire game because my voice is all raspy today, and I did it all the way through. I didn't give a shit if some crazy old woman was giving me stink eye 2 rows away. I don't give a shit if people were looking at me. The guys in front of me were like, oh, my gosh. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I told them I'm doing this the whole game. So I'm just warning you. I'm going to do this, and you can join me if you want to. The guy in front of me said, this is why we come here. If you go ahead and do it. It was all good. Nobody really got mad at me, but some people do. Because they're like, what the fuck? You're at a basketball game. People going to get loud. What do you expect? And that's what I'm saying. I want to set a standard for the future. And if that little girl who sat behind me and cheered with me the whole entire game grows up to be a fan like me and does the same thing that I do every game, I've done my job. I've done my job to show Raptors fans how to come correct as a fan and come in there and help your team the best you can. And that's defense relentlessly every single time the other team has the ball. Every single time. When they're about to inbounds on their side with their offense, start it while they're still holding the ball and get everybody else going before the play is in hand. That's right. And even if you look stupid yelling defense in the first half because the Celtics put 77 on you, just keep doing it. Have pride and know that's what you're supposed to do. That's right. That's right. There you go. There you go. Right there. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Fiercely saying this to schedule, hence missed the last game. We all thought we'd lose as that other team beat us the day before. It turns out we won despite 3 key players missing. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, I hope that Fiercey Jr. is enjoying this, the ups and downs and the good and the bad of being a basketball player. It's just part of it. That's right. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying this, moral of the story, when you think you're the underdog and may be eliminated, you can always step up. And if you put your mind to it, I comforted Fiercey Jr. by saying she contributed to the placement. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody has a part in it. Even people that don't play, you're in part of practice and you're part of people that builds up the team and you're part of the whole, team. You're part of the team. You are part of how they do. That's it right there. All right, let's do the stars of the game real quick. My number one star of the game is Scotty Barnes. Scotty almost got a triple-double again last night. He is 2 assists shy once again. It's the same thing, similar thing to the game before. 18 points for Scotty in 37 minutes, 6 of 12 shooting. He missed the only 3 he took. And I love the work inside. Honestly, you could have taken 8 more shots and shot 20 shots last night, Scott, and you could have had like 30 points. Seriously. Because the Celtics had nothing for you down low. You did whatever you wanted to. You were the big bully, and they were little babies. You did that the whole game, beating up on little babies, going to the rim, getting high percentage shots, laying it up, putting it off the glass, dunking it, putting a little short shot. You and Yak had the size advantage like crazy last night, and I don't understand why we didn't just beat them over the head in the paint and just beat them up with Yak and Scott majority of the game. Seriously, that was the winning formula right there. 11 rebounds for Scott, very much cleaning the boards, 8 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block, a -8. That's a great, solid game by him. But I'm just saying, Scott, you don't have to score just 18. Are you afraid of going over 20? Go ahead and go get the 2 more assists and go ahead and go get another 12 points and get to 30. Because seriously, in some ways, you're more money an offense than Brandon and Emmanuel are. You are way more dependable and more of a sure shot. If you're going to operate that close to the basket and take shots like that, that's a higher percentage shot. That's the more likely to go in. That's the winning play at the end of the game to win us. Right there. And you know what? It's more likely near the end of the game, you might even get fouled and get the foul shot more too. That's right. Because you only took what? Well, you got 7 foul shots. That's not bad. My second star of the game last night is Sandro Mamu. Sandro was a blur. Sandro was all over. Sandro was passionate. Sandro cared. He was really pissed in the fourth quarter. Oh my gosh, he was pissed. They had to hold Sandro back from the referees. He was so mad at how they were calling things. And he, Keita or somebody else on the other team, absolutely physical and getting dirty shots in. And Sandro, they're not doing anything. And Sandro's pissed. And they had to take him out partly because he was so angry. And there were Raptors holding Sandro back from the refs in the fourth quarter, guys. There were. Sandro, 14 points in 23 minutes, 6 of 10 shooting, 1 of 2 at the 3. He hit his only free throw, 6 rebounds, 1 turnover, a +12. He was one of the only guys who had a plus on our team. So he was out there in winning time. And it was in that third quarter. He was playing the center and running up and down with Scotty and Jamal and Elijah and AJ, and that was the most winning team last night. That 5 team right there was badass. You had Shed and Mamu, which is a natural synergy. You had Scott as the leader, the franchise, big-time player, and then you had these 2 G League guys that were absolutely killing it on defense with energy, Lawson and Martin. That was the winning squad right there. That was the winning squad. My next star of the game is Ochai Agbaji. I want to give Ochai a lot of credit for coming back from the birth of his daughter very, very smoothly and kicking a lot of ass. I think there was a bit of a baby bump. There was a little bit more extra in his step, and he was playing with a little bit more passion. And, well, it showed. He got a block shot that was major. He had a couple of them, actually. 22 minutes for Ochai, 11 points, 4 of 7 from the field. He hit his only 3, that corner, finally. 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, a +7. Once again, a plus player. They're playing during plus times. We're a plus when these defensive guys, when these guys that get after it are on the court. We're not losing when they're on the court. So let's play these guys, Darko. Let's reward Ochai Agbaji. In fact, if you keep starting Jacoby Walter over Oshai Abaji right now, you're crazy. Because in some ways, you need to start Abaji if RJ's not available on Tuesday. God forbid, we hope RJ's going to be available. We want him to play. But if it isn't him, for some reason he can't play against his former team in this knockout game, you need to start Abaji on Tuesday because he started so much last year. He's more dependable. He's going to at least give you a really good baseline of defense, if not help you in transition with great finishing and hit some corner threes, hopefully, too. So, yeah, I'm just saying this guy is quality in what he's doing out there. And that's also good if we want to trade him. The next star is AJ. AJ Lawson, 13 minutes is fantastic to see him get more than just garbage time. He played in the first half, and I was so pleasantly surprised to see AJ out there, and he made a difference. He was helping us win, Darko. And see, this is the thing. AJ can be high usage and low efficiency. He's done that. Long Island Nets, we've seen this. But the thing he's been doing the last 2 years on 905 is he's been really getting better about being more higher volume with better efficiency. And last night, you kind of saw that last night. AJ didn't take a whole lot of shots, but he was 50%, 4 of 8 from the field, 10 points in 13 minutes, instant offense. And then on the other end of the court, you're getting a very active defender who gets in the passing lanes and causes turnovers and fast break points. What's not to like? Is he a defensive liability because he's not as strong? No, because you can keep him outside and nobody's trying to post up on him. So why not play AJ? Why not give him more time on the Raptors? We could use his energy. Trust me, he has energy. And when we have guys that don't show no energy and lackadaisical, that's the antidote right there. That's the antidote. 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks for AJ Lawson, too. A +7, another plus player in this game. A plus, no, wait, he was a -5. Sorry, he was a -5. So, yeah. And then the last star, I'm going to give it to Brandon. I got to give Brandon some shine because he was carrying offensively for us a lot of the game. 35 minutes, 30 points for Brandon Ingram, 11 to 20 from the field. So he did shoot over 50%, 4 of 7 from 3. It was nice to see him hitting those threes. 4 for 6 at the free throw line. And those 2 missed free throws were really kind of like, they pissed me off. They just pissed me off. A guy at his level and how long he's played in the league shouldn't be missing 2 consecutive free throws. That shows a lack of concentration is what is annoying. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, and a -12. I would have made him a higher star if he didn't have those 4 turnovers. And some people are starting to be critical of Brandon's high dribble, that is careless. And people are coming around and messing him up by, kind of him, dribbling too high. I don't know. He just needs to tighten up. In some ways, you got to play within more control, be more smooth like you have been. And I think, when we're not relying on you so heavy to make the points for us, they'd be better. And he even said that last night. He wants to get other people involved. He shouldn't have to carry so much. We need to get people like Walter and Dick and other people getting going so they can make shots and help us carry, because it wasn't that he wasn't straining or anything. It's just, the turnovers look bad at key times because it's deflating. We're setting up our offense, and it seems like he turned the ball over just like carelessly and just not at a very good spot. Some of it's in crunch time late. It's tough. It's tough. Well, let's see. We got honorable mentions. We'll give an honorable mention to Emmanuel, I guess, and Jakob. Jakob Pertl, 10 points in 25 minutes, 4 of 9, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, and -18. Yak wasn't totally effective. Cato was really kind of beating him. Yak wasn't seeming as strong. I don't know if Yak's exactly right. In some ways, he was getting pushed underneath the basket to make him more ineffective. But yeah, Yak, you gotta play stronger in some ways. I'm not gonna go after everybody and just exclude you. In some ways, you got to step up too, buddy, because you've shown a lot of good things from last year. And now you got people on Reddit calling you a backup center, which is kind of messed up, honestly. They think that Jakob is just a backup center. He may be playing a little bit like one right now, but he's absolutely a starting center when he's at his optimal top playing form. Manuel quickly, he did get shied away from. There was minutes in the second half where Elijah took his minutes, And in some ways, I was okay with that. 31 minutes for a quickly 11 points, 4 of 9 from the field. He missed all 4 of his threes, 3 of 3 from free throw line, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a -14 for Emmanuel. Yeah, I mean, in some ways he's solid, but it's like, if you're going to be this guy who's going to be dependent on for offense, we need that chunk in there. Also, I like that Emmanuel wasn't too chaotic in this game. In some ways, he was. I don't know. It's weird. It's like you live and die with him with chaos. And in some ways, his hurry up, I'll make 3 threes within like 30 seconds is very valuable, and we want that. But also at the same time, we don't want transition threes where nobody's back and you're jacking it from almost half court. And it's a really bad shot selection. I know you make those sometimes, and then it's fine. But there's been ones you've been shooting lately that have not been right because nobody's been there and you missed them. I'm just saying. Jacoby Walter, I don't know what the hell's going on with him. I would say you're playing good defense, but you're not. And you're not scoring either. So 12 minutes for Jacoby. He got the quick hook, even though he got the start. 0 points once again. He's got another offer. He's had a few offers recently. 0 for 2 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. 1 assist, 1 turnover, -16. Yeah, just not good. Not good. Colin Murray Boyles barely played in this game. And I don't know if I totally agree with that. In some ways, he's been showing a lot of energy and aptitude to go after things. And he could have maybe played more minutes than some of the guys who've been lackadaisical. 6 minutes for Colin, 0 points. He didn't take a single shot. He got in foul trouble for a second there. He got 1 foul, and it was a dumb foul. He was guarding Jaylen Brown, and he just barely kind of shoved him, and Twardowski called it. It was either Twardowski or Goebel. And I'm just like, really? It was the classic, this is a superstar all-star, Jaylen Brown, and a finals MVP, and this is a rookie call. That's what that was. But, Darko pulled the hook on him right after that, which was really weird. Like, it's like he didn't let Colin do hardly anything. 2 rebounds, assist, and a turnover for him. But he was a +3. Let's see. Jamal Shed, 22 minutes, 9 points. He's definitely an honorable mention for the game last night. He turned the tide in the third quarter, 4 of 10 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, a +4. He had winning moments, and he did get to close the game late. But, man, I'm just telling you, like, he can only be on one of those 2 little guards on the other side. That's why you needed Hepburn or a Martin out there, because you get them on the other guy. White is bothering you? Okay, go get him, Shed. Get White. Now, who's going to go get Pritchard? Martin? Go get him. That's what I'm saying. Martin came in for 4 minutes. He took 1 shot and missed it. He got a steal and a +6, and he's got his NBA debut. So now Chucky and Elijah have debuted in their NBA 2 consecutive Sundays, and neither one of them got a point. And they did it against Atlantic Division foes of the Raptors, the Knicks and the Celtics. Grady Dick, 7 minutes, 0 points, didn't take a single shot, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, a +1. And like Brandon said after the game, y'all need to get them involved. I got to get my teammates more involved to let them. Yeah. How the hell does a scorer like Grady Dick not take a single shot in an entire game? Y'all need to make this a priority. If there's certain people that are not getting other people involved or they're doing weird shit, get over yourself. Start passing the ball around again, like Darko's system demands. Yeah, that's the box score. Looking at the different guys, Mobo and Temple and Hepburn didn't get in. Hepburn was dressed. He could have played last night. Yeah. Shaq's saying this. Jacoby and IQ can't play together. Too much of a defensive liability. Jacoby's defense reminds me of Gary Trent's. Overrated when we got him. Jacoby's actually played really good defense at times this year, but I don't know what's going on right now. I think some of it is he's getting outfoxed because he's a younger player and veteran guys are beating him, whether it's New York last week or the Celtics. And that's part of it. And I think that also maybe there's a confidence thing right now because in some ways, like, look, he's had that baseline of good defense no matter what, regardless of whether his shot's going down. But that's not even there at this point. And he's not getting his extra stints later in the game. And that could be hurting his confidence. Well, Jacoby, you know this, man. You're doing the work right fundamentally. It'll come back around for you. But you know what? Maybe you need to, like, do some soul searching. And the next time Darko gives you a big time opportunity, whether it's starting the next game, which he's giving you opportunities over and over again, you need to really value it and take advantage of it and not screw around. It's tough, man. I think that some of the things you're saying here are fair, but some of it isn't. He's not a defensive liability. IQ may be right now, yeah, I'll say that. But Jacoby shouldn't be a defensive liability. He should be out there holding it down. And that's the whole reason why we have him in the starting lineup. If he isn't, Oshai should start. Oshai should start. Neil's saying this is not the first time Darko has brought back the starters when the bench is rolling. I tried to explain this before. You have to look at coaching and player habits. Yeah, but listen, yeah, I'll agree with you that he's done this at some point before, but this has not been a consistent thing that he's done over and over again too much. It's just that certain games this has reared its head. But once again, Neil, my warning for Darko earlier this was really to open eyes here and kind of show him, like, hopefully, if there is an ear to the ground with us, that you don't want to have this bag on you, man. And that's all. In some ways, I want to make sure when we're coming at Darko, we're coming at him in a gracious, constructive way and not just painting him with wide swaths to saying this is who he is, like you're kind of doing here. I don't think he's exactly this. I'm just warning him that if he does show this from time to time, that he could get this reputation. If you want to give him that reputation right now, I'm not willing to do that. If you want to do that, I don't think that's healthy, is what I'm saying right now. So let's keep going. Fiercely saying this. Yeah, Lex, read my mind. Confused as to why Darko made a weird lineup in the fourth, because those are the starters. And you play besides Jacoby, you put Shed in replacement with him, and you play Scotty, Jakob, Emmanuel, and Brandon. And, Jakob foul trouble or he's not doing anything, then you sub him out for Sandro. But honestly, they could have subbed out Emmanuel at the end of the game last night, and that might have been better for us. That might have been better for us. And I would have put either Oshai or Elijah Martin or back in or AJ Lawson. Any of those three guys, a defensive-minded person to be in there for IQ. Is if IQ's not passing the ball or making his shot or playing defense, he's useless at the end of the game. He's useless at the end of the game. And that's it right there. Let's see. Kareem saying, sports is always about the counter and the adjustments. Darko made the right adjustments to narrow down the lead, but then leaned on the high salary cap players to finish the job. He ignored his own recipe. Yeah, he had the right mix and he had the right thing going. And it's a testament to the team and their ambition and their drive to get the game back right. But, do you really want to win the game or not? And that's why, I don't often blame the coach for losing. Like, I'm not just going to say it's the coach's fault, but then this one I will. This one I will for this one. Because personnel was the reason in some ways we lost last night. Yeah. Neil's saying this. People complain we don't have a lob threat, and I say BS. What we don't have is a player situated in the dunker spot. It's about positioning. Jakob has to park himself in the dunker spot. Yeah, I don't care about lob threat. That's for highlight reel people. That doesn't even have to be a real position or a thing for winning. You don't need lob threats to win in the NBA. That's the new age fan that loves dunking and offense. And in some ways, it's not really a winning thing. Lob threats, you don't have to covet a guy like Derek Lively or do Lob City like the Clippers did. Did the Clippers win with Lob City? No. In fact, guys who do a lot of lobs and flying through the air, they're hurt a lot of times, like John Morant. So this is not a need on a team to win. Oh, we need a lob threat. That's not on the list of something that's essential for a team to win. If it's for highlights and little kids that have little woo, that's not important. That's not important. So lob threat is not something that we should even worry about or talk about. If we have lob threats or things happening with lobs, that's great. But it has nothing to do with winning basketball. There's nothing to do with it. So we're saying this. Celtics played a great game. They scouted the Raptors very well. I mean, there's a lot of teams that understand what we've been doing, and we are not adjusting well without RJ out. In some ways, one of the things that the Raptors have as a strength, and part of the reason why we've done so well in the third quarter, is that we have a really good halftime. Darko does a really good job with making adjustments during the game, and that's why we usually come back in the third quarter and do way better on defense and offense, because the coaches are watching the game very closely, and they are seeing where we could change things at halftime. And because our players are very smart and have high IQs. They actually listen to them and they make the changes, and we see the real results in the third quarter. That's the difference. It's like first you have to have the team that's paying attention, the coaches telling them what to do, and then the players wanting to buy in and doing it and immediately changing it. And we do that. We do that. And but once again, I'm baffled by if you see the winning formula, why would you go away from it when you're trying to win at the end? That's all. That's all I'm saying right there. Yeah. Yeah. The Raptors are getting taken very seriously right now, for sure. I think that it's not even that they had a game plan for us. I think it's just that the Celtics have a very interesting system and how they do things. And you have to give them credit. They're very professional and they run a very tight ship. Coach Joe is a crazy maniac and he demands so much accountability and everything with these guys. And, that's how he gets these guys to play this way, to play the very scrappy, messed up way they play. Your coach has to be a part of that. And so I have to give them credit for that. I do give them credit for that. That's right. Mr. Quasimodo is saying Celtics were allowed to shoot too many threes. Yes. Yes. That's why I was like, Jacoby, can you guard the 3-point line? Oshai, can you guard the 3-point line? Jamal, you come in. Elijah, you come in. You do it. Emmanuel, what are you doing? What are you doing out there? Guard the 3-point line. Brandon, if you see that the rotations come around to you and you have to run out the 3-point shooter, make sure you damn for sure run out him and use your long ass arms. Because if you half-ass walking out at him, that's not that's not gonna do it. Derek White hits these shots, man. You give him this much room, he fucking hits it. And y'all got to cover him up like a blanket on a kid in a cold winter night. Seriously, you got to cover him up like that. That's right. I hate standing threes. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Quasimodo, I'm with you, my guy. Blackhawk saying quotation had easy work because Jakob was not under the basket. You talking about Kada? Kada, it's spell corrected to quotation. So easy for the Celtics to defend. Where is the pressure coming from presence-wise? Presence-wise. I think that we were winning in the paint. We dominated in them. Like I said already in the stream, I feel like we could have utilized that better too. Is going in the paint and using Scotty and Jakob. Jakob was doing a lot of good stuff early in the game with little shots, and he was kind of the biggest guy on the court last night. So you got Scotty and Yak who are absolutely manhandling the Celtics. Why are you not utilizing this, Darko? In some ways, I don't necessarily want the finesse game of Brandon or the quick game of Quick. I'd rather have the bully game of Scott is what I'd rather have. Because in some ways, like I said, that's a higher percentage thing right there. That's it right there. So we're saying good teams know the Raptors have a lot of potential and bring their A games. Toronto has to learn to match it. I think this is where this is happening, like in the recent losing, is that we're showing, like I said before, immaturity. Like our team is very much skewing young. And, once again, Scotty's posing and flexing and talking shit to Josh Minott and just talking a lot of trash. And then we still lose the game. It's like that's still immature. It's like the lessons at the beginning of the season. It's like you can't do that if you're not going to ensure you're going to win the game. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, those guys could talk shit because they're going to win at the end of the game. They don't look like fools by the end of the game because they let the game go and then lose it at the end of the game. So, Scott, this is great. Do that kind of stuff at the fourth quarter after you've won a winning play, not in the first half when you're just starting the game off and giving gumption to the other team. Flex on them in the fourth when you've made the dagger and you're fucking about to win the game. That's when you do that shit. And that's part of the immaturity I'm talking about right now. Whether it's the immaturity to understand exactly how much it takes to win the NBA or the immaturity of being a clown and not being able to back it up with a W. That kind of stuff right there. That's right. That's right. Isolation plays for those threes. Yeah. Yeah. Cream saying Kada of the Celtics probably cost like $8 million for 3 years. Why can't the Raptors get someone like this? 11 points, 11 boards, and just muscle protection around the rim. I don't know. I still think that we're on double secret probation about big men in the NBA. Like that's part of the reason why they took Koloko and Ulrich away from us. Is because we're not allowed to have a certain amount of big men because they know that'll handicap us and hold us from being able to win. I don't know. There may be some secret rules that Bobby and Masai had to work under for years and we didn't even know about that made this so much harder and then makes everybody think, why aren't they doing this? Why won't they get more big men on our team? I don't know why. I have no question of this. In some ways, yeah, it seems like other teams can go get quality big guys and do this and do that. In some ways, we just don't do that. I don't understand why we can't get more bigs on the Toronto Raptors. That's why, hallelujah, Sandro came this summer. I was like, hey, Sandro. And even y'all are trying to say he's not a big, Lex. He's not really a big. He's a big, and he was doing good big things last night. That's for sure. That's right. Neil saying this. Yes, teams are taking the Raptors seriously as it means a W, but it's still on the Raptors to be in the right spots for rebounds and rim pressure. Okay. Cato was a problem. He wasn't. He wasn't. He was early, but later on, they negated him to a degree. He was fouling a lot. There was a lot of scrappiness that, the NBA is just looking the other way on a lot of physicality at this point. And people can get away with a lot more physicality underneath the basket like it's FIBA now. And Keita is good for that. He plays for Portugal. He understands how to play the FIBA underneath, mess up your shot kind of game with dirty little holds and grabbing your jersey or grabbing your arm or grabbing your waist or any kind of push, a little slight push. There's a lot of this kind of shit happening underneath the basket that the refs don't even see, that very sneaky, half-assed, dirty defenders can do. That's part of it right there. That's part of it. Shaq Lindsay saying the depth is in question. If you have to use your two ways to get production, I'm almost certain that Dick or Jacoby is on the trade block. I just question, why did we extend them if we can't rely on them? Well, in some ways it's good to do that on the books just to keep them more attractive, because that's the rookie extensions and that's piddly money. It's not a whole lot of money, Shaq Lindsay. It's not like we extended them with huge amounts. It's on the rookie contract scale. I think that it's good to use your two ways. I don't think that this is a bad thing when you say, oh, we're having to use our two ways because of depth. No, we should be. This league is a long season and it's very arduous. We have injuries. We have a lot of different things. I wish Darko would integrate them and use them as a whole long extra rotation, possibly. You should have starters. You should have regular rotation, and you should have rotating rotation. And that rotating rotation can include the two ways to come in as role player spot duty for needs in particular games, like last night when Elijah Martin came out there and tied up Peyton Pritchard while Shed tied up Derek White. So, no, we want to utilize this. If you look at and I was thinking about this earlier when I was driving home, was, the Lakers and a lot of other teams that were good teams in the 80s, the Pistons, the Celtics. These teams had different special role players off the bench that did not play every game, but they were utilized in special situations. And you needed to have those kind of guys on your roster. They were role players, true role players. And some of them didn't play every game, but they had a very specialized specialty that they could be called upon for. And I feel like in some ways the Raptors could be doing this better with their personnel all the way through to the two ways. Because there are guys like Chucky Hepburn on our team that could be helpful to the Raptors level and just be that specialized old school role player thing where you just come in for a second and you do something for 5 minutes or something like that. Those things are good. Those things are good. I don't think it's a detriment or says something bad that the Raptors are having to rely on their two ways. Most teams in the league are relying on their two ways to a degree in some sort of way. Most teams, not every team. Some of the top teams don't have to rely on their two ways, like the Thunder, but most teams are relying on their two ways for regular minutes in certain places. Let's see. Blackhawks saying this: Oshai becomes a dad and his game gets better. Of course, we've seen this pattern with different players. They feel real good and they're happy, and maybe they have a more real reason to be better professionally and earning money because they see somebody they have to take care of. I'm sure this has had a huge effect on Scott in the last year since he became a dad. Maybe part of his maturation and changes in his game are partly related to a new life perspective, being a father. I'm sure that has something to do with it. That's right. It's not just him anymore. He's got to look out for another person. And in some ways, his success and how much he earns as a player is going to help his daughter. That's what they're thinking, right? Smooth saying this: it's too early to consider trading Grady or Walter. Rough patches happen all the time. They're still learning. Exactly. That's exactly right. And it's not even trade time anyway. I don't like people that are so quick to say we need to trade these people. And in some ways, that's not how it works. Let these guys go up on the up and downs of the NBA. And, at some point when the decision making happens to happen at the period of time when it's supposed to happen, let Bobby do the job, and you can stay at home and just watch because you ain't got nothing to do with it. That's what I tell people right there. G saying this: if RJ is out, I would like to see Oshai start. I agree with this. I said that earlier. He probably wrote that before I said that. Yak is not 100%, and it's not his fault or even fair for Yak having to have carried the big load for 2 years. Yeah, yeah. And some people are coming down because the Raptors have a center like this with a back problem. Man, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Look, anyway, there's just negative people out there. I'm going to keep going. Shaq Lindsay saying this: Oshai was a pleasant surprise, but Dick and Jacoby is such a waste of time and money. Yeah, you can say that for present, but let's go forward and hope that they come around because we're invested in them. They're both first round picks for the Raptors. And in some ways, their failure is not good for us. We want their success because their success is our success. Their failure is our failure. So we should be rooting for them. And like Reggie just said, this is a patch, and there's different times and different places where different things will happen. And maybe Grady Dick, when that calendar flips to 2026, is extremely good for the Raptors in the second half of the season. We don't know. We could see what happens. We got to just watch. We're fans once again. We're spectators. We are not totally involved. Unless you want to do it the way I do it, then you can be involved. If you go to the game and yell like I do, you can be involved. But that's the level where we're involved, guys. We don't make the decisions. That's it. That's it right there. Yeah. Kareem saying this. Nah, we don't need to trade anyone. We just need, hang on, it jumped ahead. Let me make sure I don't miss any of these comments. Kareem saying this. Nah, we don't need to trade anyone. We just need to see continuous growth. 2 to 3 years from now, these guys will be great rotation players. Question is, how long? Lawson is now 25 and hitting stride. Are the Raptors willing to wait? Listen, he's not doing anything wrong, whether it's on 905 or last night in the bit of time he got with the Raptors. So he should be rewarded. Plus, once again, man, that's a Canadian kid, man. And the Canadian content, look, once again, we could have parted ways with him like Jared Rhoden this summer. We did not. So all signs are there that we got our AJ. Don't worry. We got him. And we're going to take care of this. Trust me. He's a valuable player. And I think that, don't worry, it's going to all work out for him. I can tell. I can already tell. If it doesn't and some weird ass shit happens, well, we'll cover it on the channel and we'll talk about it. But I have a good feeling because AJ's doing everything right that it's going to work out. Trust me. Neil's saying this: when we see issues on the floor, you can bet the coaching staff sees it too. The problem becomes how the coaching staff addresses the issue. I see point of attack, some rebounding addressed. Yeah. I mean, we can get nuts and bolts and stuff like that. We can go talk to Samson Folk. He could probably tell us. Shaq Lindsay saying, I'm sorry for being so hard on these guys, but watch teams' second-year players contribute more to their teams, and our second and third players aren't showing any potential. It's so disappointing. I think it's a combination of two things. I think that their confidence is a little fucked up this year, and I think that also certain guys in the starting lineup are not helping them. I know I've consistently said this the last couple of weeks. Players like Jamison Battle and Grady Dick in some ways need other guys to set them up to be successful. And that's looking for them. That's actually getting them to the spots where they can make the shots high percentage. But part of the problem is Grady got a lot of open shots this year, and he has not hit them. So the confidence is not just his confidence, it's the other player's confidence in him to give him the ball and know that he'll make that shot. These guys shouldn't worry about it. They should just be feeding him and help him get through it by continuing to give him the shot, because shooters got to shoot to get back. But we're in a weird place where Grady missed so many shots that nobody wants to give him the ball to let him shoot as of last night because he didn't take a single damn shot. And what do you do in that situation? Darko's got to tell the leaders, the starters, to start finding Grady and make him a priority. That's a big part of it right there, because, that's the only way he's going to get out of this. In some ways, he won't get out of this by himself. He's not that kind of player like Brandon, where he can make his own offense for himself completely. He needs those other guys to help him and look out for him. And in some ways, I don't know if Grady is not somebody like some of the guys on the team on the down low are like, man, in some ways, if Grady is just not on this team anymore, that'll be good for me. Some of those people might be like that. And that's not good, because we need everybody to be successful. And they need to get Grady going again. They need to get Jacoby going again. They need to get Oshai going again. They need to get Jacoby going again. All those guys. They need to get all of them going again. That's right. Let's see. Let's see. Good game saying this. I'm not a trade person, but Yak's body is being destroyed and it's unfair to him and the team. They need a backup center. And how else other than a trade? I don't know. That's pretty dramatic to say that his body is getting destroyed. I don't know if that's what this is. I mean, that's pretty dramatic. Let's not over embellish it. I mean, I know that Yak some days, look, his back is different days. And some days he's been very lithe and easy to move around. And some days he's been very kind of and not moving as well. And I think that it's really like he has a very good procedure on off days to try and take care of himself. And it's just on some days he's just a little stiffer and it's not exactly as right. I give him a lot of credit for, playing probably when he probably it sometimes is like not ideal to play because his back's a little screwy. So yeah, I mean, we don't need to trade to get a big man. No, we don't. That's the thing. Gee, we could have an open roster spot and there's free agency. Now, whether there's somebody good available somewhere. I mean, I watched Mike Roach show with Paul Jones that came out in the last. He's got all these guys coming on his show right now. Mike Roach channel. Y'all follow him, subscribe. He's had Matt Devlin, Leo Routens, Alvin Williams, and now Paul Jones all in a row on his show. And Paul Jones said that he thinks that the Raptors should go to Europe and get Holmes. There's the Holmes who used to play in the NBA just like 2 years ago, Rashawn Holmes. He's available from Europe and he's not in the NBA. And he thinks that the Raptors should get him. That's what Paul Jones was saying. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Mr. Quasimodo is saying the Lakers loss was a really good loss compared to these last 3 losses. Well, it is one of the last 3 losses. The Hornets loss was the worst one. I hated that one. The one last night wasn't as bad. This one was closer to the Lakers loss. The Lakers loss was right at the end and was just kind of timing with the shot clock and when the time ran out and they got the last shot. Honestly, if we had had another shot, maybe we could have tied it and gone back to overtime, but they got the last shot and that's time management. The game last night was close and we made the comeback. In some ways, there's a lot to being down by so much and getting so many points scored on you in the first half to come back and take the lead in the second half. That's fantastic. Alas, in the last 7 minutes of the game, the Raptors did not execute better than the Celtics and they still lost the game. So, I mean, I think the Lakers and the Celtics games are not as bad as the Charlotte losses, both of them, and the Knicks loss. The Knicks loss was a rout. So I would say that the Charlotte losses were the worst. Now, the first Charlotte loss was Mark Davis. The second Charlotte loss was us, and that was the most embarrassing loss of the year. And then the Knicks loss was really bad too because it wasn't a close game. It wasn't a close game. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. Fiercely saying this, RJ comes back, problem solved. Like BI said, RJ's also an offensive threat and alleviates pressure on BI. Another thing that I would say, and this is kind of crazy because this is the flip, we're missing RJ more because of defensive stuff too. Yeah. He's been so good on defense this year. He made a real commitment to being a better defender that we're missing his defense right now. In some ways, RJ's been a really good guy to guard guys like Jaylen Brown because he's the right size. And he's really like he hated the way people talked about his defense this summer. So one of the things RJ did this summer was I'm going to be a good defender this year. So people can't have that to criticize me. So that's another side. We could talk about all the offensive stuff we miss about RJ. On the download, we're missing his defense also right now, which is kind of crazy, man, if you think about it, man. Yeah, Neil's saying this, Raptors can only work trades next week to keep under second apron. We have to send out more than we get back. Oshai's expiring contract will help. Once again, Bobby's the salary cap expert. I'm not going to speculate on what he's going to do. Things will start opening up with trade deadlines opening up and movement being allowed. That's why it's like, why talk about trades during periods of time where they just aren't realistic or can't happen because they just legally or real rules wise can't happen right now. So there's no point in talking about trades until it comes around. And once again, we don't have to make a trade to fill this spot. We have an open roster spot. And if we want to sign somebody free agency, we can do that at any time. We don't have to wait for trade deadlines. We don't have to wait for them. Let's see. Mr. Quasimodo saying even RJ with 12 and 15 is such a winnable game. Yeah. Yeah. I hate that our record's 15 and 10 now. I was really hoping that we could get to 20 wins before we got our 10th loss. I guess that was pie in the sky. I mean, before when it was like 15 and or it's 14-6 or something like that, it looked a lot better to be able to do that. But now it's 15-10, and alas, we've fallen below the Celtics in the standings as of yesterday. I hate that. I hate that so much. We got stuff we need to do to fix it. Blackhawks saying the Owls are me, saying who, okay. Okay, all right. I like that. I like that. Clash of the Titans. Good game saying this. Yak should have sat at the end too. They were going at him because he's not 100%. Mamu was doing a good job. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I mean, I'm okay. They sit Yak at the end of games, partly because of free throws, maybe because of fatigue sometimes, and they want to go smaller. Scotty's sometimes at the center, but you got Mamu out there. That's adequate, especially with the size that the Celtics put out on the court. You didn't necessarily need Yak in at the end of the game, Darko. Maybe you make a smaller lineup and you put that extra point guard out there to chase them now. I don't mind Quick shed, but it's as long as Quick is playing in the shed too, as far as defense. I don't mind Quick shed. Quick shed's fantastic, but Emmanuel has to really be better on defense. He can't be a liability like he has been at times. Yes, but Monique is here, guys. Good morning, Monique. Hey, Rapid Freak crew. Hated Darko's rotation in the forest. Something I've mentioned. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you on this one. Being at the game last night and seeing it in person, I was yelling from the stands behind Darko, play the 905 guys in the last 5 minutes of the game. I yelled at him, play AJ, play AJ. I was, seriously, I was trying, Mo. I was very loud about it. Very, very loud. We sat in 108 and 14 rows up from the bench in a different spot than I normally sit. And well, yeah, I was very loud. They could hear me. I know the players could hear me. And I know Darko could too. I was telling him to. I was like, play AJ, play AJ. Shaq Lindsay saying this: keep O'Shea on his contract, expires at the end of the year. Plus, we need his defense. It's let's consider moving Dick or Jacoby, who have extensions and haven't shown much progress. They can be easily replaced. Yeah. I like what Shaq Lindsay's saying here. Not that I want to like talk about getting rid of guys, but in some ways, as this actually struck me earlier too, is can we really afford to trade O'Shea? Can we really afford to lose him? Because he's one of our better defenders. And in some ways, that's a side of the ball where we're having most problems. Our offense is not bad this year. In some ways, it's way better when RJ's out there, but we need good defenders. And in some ways, can we afford to lose Ochai Agbaji? This year, we need to maybe invest in him and keep him around. And, Shaq Lindsay, what he's saying about Grady and Jacoby, they have to distinguish themselves in some ways, or he's right. He's exactly right with what he's saying. G saying this: Martin is a winner. He doesn't overly stand out, but when he plays, good things happen for 905 and last night. Yeah, I'm starting to believe in him in certain ways. Now, this is why, like, when he got out there last night and he was tying up one of the little guards for Boston, I was like, this is very useful for Elijah. Very, very useful because, look, he knows it's going to be hard for him to make the NBA. And if he can get out there and prove that he can be a stopper, a guy who can tie up people at the guard, that's very, very helpful and very, very good. And in some ways, I wanted to see more of that later in the game. But he got his taste of the NBA. This is what it's all about. And I could maybe forecast in the future of the season that we're going to see Elijah Martin paired up with Jamal Shed in the backcourt as a very powerful backcourt of defense in the future this season. He just got a snapshot of it. But Darko, you've seen what that is. Use it as a weapon and opportunities when you need it. And don't be afraid to play Elijah Martin. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying X Lawson, especially if they're so inconsistent and only playing one or no end of the court. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to harp on this too much. I get your point, Shaq Lindsay. I do. We probably have to consider this because RJ just made the stock go up without even playing. Laugh out loud. I don't know. I don't think that RJ's trying to stick us with the prices changed. I think RJ's at home. I think RJ's making lots of money. And in some ways, he's more likely to be like Tim Duncan and want to help the Raptors build a team with things. I don't think he's trying to get more money or stick it to us. I don't know. I can't say for sure. He's more likely to be a team guy like Jalen Brunson or Tim Duncan or a Manu Ginobili and say, I want a team friendly deal because I want to stay here. I love this team. I want to help the team win by helping it be better because I'm taking a little bit less than I could. I think that he's like that. So I don't really see RJ coming around saying, Bobby, the price has gone up just because I've been sitting it out. Nah, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Jacoby has been great on point of attack defense. Yeah, but it's not showing because the whole defense is sieve, and people are going right through them and scoring like crazy, and they're getting like 20 points in the first 5 minutes of the game. So no, that's not true right now, Neil. His defense has been shitty. And if it's so good, why is the guy he's guarding going off on us at the beginning of the game? So it was good at the beginning of the year, but in recent games, Jacoby has been absolute dog shit on defense. His effort is trying to be there, but he's not making the right decisions. And some of it is veterans are outfoxing him. And he's not, he's a young player. He's learning some tough lessons. And the other thing is, I'm wondering about his elevation. Like, these guys half-ass go at the basket and they get blocked. Both him and Shed piss me off sometimes because they're going into the lane to try and score, and it's just weak sauce. It's weak sauce. I literally said that after a drive that Jacoby had last night. That was weak sauce, Jacoby. Weak sauce. So it's tough, man. It's tough. Most saying credit AJ. Wow, down 23 and plus 12 in the third. Yep, that was a big, huge quarter. And man, it was so nice to get the lead back. And I thought, well, we can win this game now. We got the momentum. Alas, the different things went a certain way, and it didn't happen. That's right. Wayne saying this morning, Raptor Freaks. I was mad with Darko at first, and then I remembered that front office dictates who plays at times to accomplish certain goals. We're destined for the playoffs, and front office dictates right now. This is a good point by Sergeant Wayne. And another thing is also, this is the first time we're seeing the Celtics this season. Now, I get it. A lot of analysts like Paul Jones and Alvin Williams would say you don't want to lose games like this early in the season because they may matter at the end of the year. But there's also a learning curve. We're going to play the Celtics 4 times this season, and let's see how we improve each time we play them. We may be totally different when we play them in other times, seriously. And once again, the NBA is trying to make us lose to our Atlantic Division opponents the first time we play them. And they're successful with all 3 of the main ones, not with the Nets, but they're successful with the Knicks, the Sixers, and the Celtics, hanging a loss the first time the Raptors play them. And some of it is the refs. Some of it is the back-to-back second night of back-to-back scheduling too. That right there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Good game saying this. Trade RJ for whom? Our offense went to 30th without him, and they still have to pay the player that comes back. So I don't understand the logic. Trade some bench players for backup C at most. Yeah. Let's not even talk about the trade RJ people. I think that there's nothing realistic about what they're saying, and it's foolish. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying, why did we get rid of Chris? Chris was the better perimeter defender than what we have presently coming off the bench. Yeah. No, he was not a good perimeter defender. That's absolutely not true. That's not true. I don't know. Chris, in some ways, wasn't a Darko player. Once again, you need to be able to be passing a lot to be a Darko player. And in some ways, I was just like, let's just move on. It's just happened. And it's just how it is. Like, I'm not second guessing what they did with Chris Boucher this summer because in some ways it was just time. And I don't know. I don't see Chris as a perimeter defender. I don't see this like he can run out at people and block at people, but he's not really a good like point of attack kind of corral a small guy from running around. There's some weaknesses in Chris Boucher's game that we don't look at as fans, but the coaches and the teams are very aware of. And they're a big, huge part of why he gets what he gets, whether it's what he's getting right now in Boston. We've got to understand this. It's not all sunshine and roses with Chris. He's got some deficiencies and things that can hurt a team also. And that's always been the case. But kudos to him. He's got a 10-year NBA career, and he came from nowhere and made himself into something. That's an accomplishment in itself. He can't be Kevin Durant. He can't be Brandon Ingram. He's just Chris. And Chris is solely Chris. You You want me to bark again? Why? Shaq Lindsay saying, convert Lawson, send Dick and Jacoby to the G League. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Neil saying this, Dick has to approve any G League moves. He can't be sent without his consent. Jacoby is fine for a second-year player. Yeah, Jacoby could go down there. I don't know. I mean, you don't do that to punish people, and that's not even really what G League is for. They're getting minutes on the big squad and they're trying to work it out. I think you guys are too hyper focused on Walter and Dick right now. And maybe we need to just let them have breathing room and we'll come back to them. But I'd love to see Darko give more opportunity the two ways. Jamison Battle, Jonathan Mobo, people like that. Oh, yeah. Mr. Quasimodo saying those defensive holes can't exist when we know how to deal with those three bonanzas in the first half. Yeah. Yeah, the defense has been not concentrated or organized or communicating right. And, throughout the whole entire year, there's going to be ups and downs with the offense and the defense at different times. And, there needs to be a recommitment to communication and accountability for your assignments. And maybe Darko needs to stop running at people and stay at home and play more one-on-one in certain ways also, either one-on-one or zone, something like that. Mo's saying this update on RJ today, everyone. Shout out Alvin Williams for seeing the game how it is. Can't be down so low. Fought back, but we didn't hit first. That's right. Stars of the game: Scotty, AJ, Mamu, Jamal, and Elijah. Yeah, it's a little bit different than mine and Bi. Yeah, she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 6. That's fine. Neil saying this. I agree with Alvin. Celtics did everything to get Jakob away from the paint. Thus, you have to ask yourself, why is Jakob on the perimeter when you have smaller players for that? Yeah, I don't know. Smooth saying this. Mo's saying this. IQ had an up and down game, not like last game, 31 points. Yeah, he wasn't fully effective the whole game. It is what it is. I don't want to come down on Emmanuel too much. I can see where the holes in our defense are, and it's you and Brandon. It's you and Brandon. I'm telling you right now. It's not Scotty. It's not Yak. And in some ways, I don't want to think it's Jacoby, but maybe it is a little bit of Jacoby too. So you got two guys that are holding it down, the two bigs, and then the other three guys are suspicious defenders right now. Yeah, that's no good, especially since the three guys are supposed to be the perimeter defense, and the threes are raining down by the Celtics. That's it right there. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Raptor Freaks, family, blessings. How inspiring are your works? As others see your body of works, are they inspired to raise their level of effort? Raise the bar. That's right. And that's what I was talking about. Raise the bar for defense chance in the Scotiabank Arena when you are there and you're a fan. Raise your bar as a fan and get louder and be more intense and be more dogged and just don't stop. That's right. There's something weird. They call the arena Scotiabank Arena, and I'm with Scotiabank. I'm a Scotiabank customer. It used to be that they had ATMs all over the place in that place. They don't anymore. Why do you do that, Scotiabank? In some ways, I know you're a cashless building, but I need to get money out. And when I come to the game, I want to get money out to pay the scalpers. But you ain't got no fucking cash machine outside anymore that can put money out. Like, where did all the ATMs go? Matt Devlin's literally calling the arena the bank, but there ain't no fucking ATM at the Scotiabank Arena at this point. Y'all need to be mandatory, have a bank in there. I'm serious. In some ways, I don't get to many ATMs out here in the country. There's not many out here. And when I come down the game, I'm trying to get my cash and get some cash to have in my wallet. But apparently they took all the ATMs out of the Scotiabank Arena for some fucking reason. Your name is Scotiabank. You can't have a fucking ATM in the arena. Oh, we're cashless. I'm sorry. And you have to have a credit card to go into some of the food and beverage stands now. What the fuck is this shit? You know what I say? If you go to a game, don't go to any of those automated stands. Go to the ones where there are actual people working and taking your order and putting your money in a cash register. Fuck the automated shit that MLSE has been doing with their food and beverage. Support real people. Fuck AI. Fuck automated. Fuck self-checkout. And go and support the stands in the arena where there are actually people handing you your food and you can smile and talk to them, because that numbers of those stands will look way better than the self-checkout bullshit they're trying to set up to cut jobs and get cut corners and bullshit corporate ways. So fuck you, MLSE, for your fucking bullshit and your stands the way you're changing the food and beverage in the arena, support the stands that have people in them working. And don't go to those other ones. Fuck those other ones. Show them with the money that we spend in the arena as fans what we prefer and keep people jobs. Do you want young people that are in high school, young people that are starting in college to have a job, to be able to do a job like that? We need to protect them and say, fuck you to self-checkout. Fuck you to all the automation and cutting out people's jobs. And get some damn ATMs in there too. Why is there no ATM? You're called Scotiabank Arena. Seriously. Anyway, blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. G saying this, Scotty had that high dribble too, and it was also affecting turnovers, and he managed to adjust and fix it. So I have faith Brandon will fix his dribble as well. No, he won't. No, he won't, G. That's his signature. That's a dribble that he's done for 10 years. He ain't going to fix it if he ain't fixed it by now. It's not even that he looks at it as a fundamentally wrong thing. It's just the way he plays. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. If he hasn't fixed it by now or nobody's come to him and said, don't do that high dribble anymore, he's not going to change it. Just so you know. It's not going to happen. Yeah, Scotty did it before, and he's gotten better. That's for sure. That's right. Neil saying this, Lakers got 8 and going with lobs. They are gimmies. Celtics play to get you out of position. Yeah, once again, lobs are not essential or an important thing on a team all the time. They can be helpful, but in some ways, the lob is not anyway. It's not absolutely a thing that every team has to have. There's different styles of different teams. If you have certain talents, you can get lobs going. I mean, we get lobs all the time. It's just that they don't happen in the way that you think they happen. There's a lob to Oshai. There's a lob to Sandro. There's a lob to Scotty. There's a lob to Jakob. So we get lobs all the time. I don't see any hole there as far as things. You want a guy who just does lobs and he's just known for it? What's the point of that? We need them to do other things. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, Mo's saying this, Celtics threes were too much. That's why they won. Yep. Neil's saying this, you had a 12-point run in third with CMB, BI, Mamu, Jamal, and Oshai. Darko needs to remember that rotation. Yeah, that's not exactly the one that I was remembering. I mean, Colin was barely in there. He was barely in there. Wayne saying this, missed your intro, but it seems like we agree on the game last night. For Darko to take out the guys who brought us back into the game, the decision has to involve other issues. Regular season game. Yeah. Yeah, I think back to that Dallas game with Kyle Lowry, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Chris Boucher, Terrence Davis, that epic Christmas comeback where they rode with the bench guys that got him there. He didn't bring the starters back in. He let the guys who did it play it out, and they ended up winning it. That's where we should have gone last night. That was that kind of game last night. We broke it open and had the right combination of guys. We're getting some traction. We're stopping them finally. It was the only period in the whole entire game, in the third, where we actually were able to stop the Celtics offense. So you had the winning formula, Darko, and you didn't input the formula at the end to win it. That's the thing I'm saying right here. Kareem's saying if the Raptors didn't mount the comeback, I would have played Chucky, Martin, Lawson, Mobo to send a message to the starters on continuous effort. Yes, I'm with that. Cam Homan 657. Thank you for the subscription. Do you think that there's a player on the roster right now that could develop into a number one option on a title contender? Yeah. Brandon's the number one option right now, and he can be a title contender's number one option. One thing that we're forgetting about Brandon also, other than he has fatigue because he's played more than he has in a year, is that he's still working his way into our team and learning more and more how to fit in and kind of work with things. But Brandon Ingram could do this. I mean, RJ could be a number one option on a title contender too. I mean, I don't know if you're saying, oh, is this a low key put down? Are there anybody on our team that could be a number one option on a contender? Yeah, I think we've got 3 guys, maybe even 4 that could be a number one option on a contender if they develop into the right way and do things. Scotty could be the number one option on a title contender. He's not for it though, because he's a giving player that wants to give to everybody else. But Brandon's the best one here, and RJ's very close as 1B. So that's what I would say right there. Blackhawks saying this, Darko then changes lineup to AL, AM, SB, JS, and Mamu, and they tie up the game. Another good rotation that has a good portion of offense and defense. Yeah, there's a good balance in there. And that's the lineup I was thinking about right there. Lawson, Martin, Barnes, Shed, and Mamu. That was the winning combination right there. Right there. Kareem's saying there's a lot of things wrong, but I'm kind of getting a bit irritated when Ingram gets the ball. It seems like he goes into ISO mode, or the best rest of the players just watch, like nobody's cutting or even setting screens when BI has the ball. I've noticed in general that the Raptors on offense are not moving off ball or doing things right at this point. Scotty's dying for guys to cut because he loves to pass to cutters. And you saw when AJ was out there with him, AJ did that little play with him where the guy left him and then he cut right in the basket and Scotty hit him. Easy layup, right like that. That's what I'm saying. So the ball movement, the movement off ball needs to be better as a team. And Brandon admitted it after the game that he has to look for his teammates better when he gets the ball and get the ball to them in successful ways so they can be successful. He's aware of the assignment. He made it very clear last night in what he said after the game that he understands what he needs to do better to help the team. And I'm very, very, very confident that Brandon Ingram will change and do things the right way more and more into the future as he figures it out. It'll help when RJ comes back, though, immensely. That'll be a big part of it right there. That'll be a big part of it right there. That's right. Let's see. Mo's saying this. Paul Jones says it's the schedule maker screwing us over. I strongly agree and more. The part of it that's insidious in some ways, I think that our schedule has been a mix of both hard and easy at times. But the really tough part is the amount of games and the amount of time. He said this on Mike Roach's podcast yesterday or this weekend. He said that the Raptors, if you think about it, last weekend, starting with the first Charlotte game in Charlotte and then going to New York, they had to play 5 games in 7 nights. Yeah. They played from last Saturday, not this past Saturday, yesterday or whatever, the Saturday before, all the way to the Friday to the second Charlotte game. Those Charlotte games were bookending 5 games in 7 nights. And no wonder they were absolutely gassed when they played the Hornets at Scotiabank on Friday night. And then, you only got one day off and you're going right back with the Celtics. And same thing. Today's off, but they're going right back to the Knicks. Now, this in-season tournament, if they're successful, they'll get to play 3 games still in the in-season tournament. But if they're not, they'll have to play 2. And there may be some extra days off in this next week coming up where the guys can actually get a breather and maybe they can actually have a good practice on an off day too. Yeah, I don't want to blame the schedule because in some ways the schedule is nicer to us this year than it's been the 2 years before. And last year's schedule was absolutely diabolical. And this is absolutely a way that the NBA is trying to hurt the Raptors, is the schedule making. I've been talking about this for years, and it's nice to hear that mainstream media people like Paul Jones are actually admitting this on their themselves. Because I've said it for a while, and some people say you're a conspiracy theorist. Everybody has bad schedules. No, that shit they did to us last year was crazy. Seriously, giving us all our hard games at the beginning of the year and all our easy games right at the end. That was crazy. This year, they gave us more easy games to start in some ways, but they put us on the road a lot. And, well, we've weathered it, and we have a pretty good record for it. That's pretty good. Neil's saying this, we will beat New York because now Darko's seeing that he can put up a defensive lineup even without Jakob and RJ. There are options. I want to beat New York so bad. If we can beat New York tomorrow night, it'll make up for a lot of the misery of these last few losses and things that have been going on right now. That's right. G saying, Kareem, that's why RJ makes BI's life easier because he cuts and demands the ball. I do wish he would balance passing more with his shooting, but we have seen glimpses, so it needs to become a habit now. Yeah. I think that, Brandon, when he's on, he's such a good shot. It's just, I just want him to play more. Like, I don't know. I don't want to criticize him too much because in some ways, Brandon is kind of working through some lumps right now. I can tell. And, he could figure things out. And, we saw such a perfect Brandon for a while to start that we just expected that. And that's part of why we're a little let down now that he's not playing as well all of a sudden. So it's tough. It's tough. And, we saw such an electric badass with RJ next to him. And it's kind of shown another side at this point. I just don't want him falling back on Pelican habits because you're a Raptor, bro. And you can't be doing things like you did when you're hanging out with Zion. You can't be doing that. Daniel's back. Good to see Daniel Franklin back in the chat this morning. Extend Oshai or Sandro? Right now I'd love to keep both, but I know that Oshai is probably the guy that'll get moved. But like I was saying earlier, can we afford to lose good defender like him? I don't know. I'd like to keep both. We'll just have to see how it goes. Sandro's got a player option next summer. Well, just we'll let Bobby do the job. And hopefully, I think Oshai may be not expendable at this point because we just need him so bad for defense. Mo's going to be at the game tomorrow night, and that's going to be awesome. That's right. That's going to be awesome. We need her down there. So she's got her ticket for the knockout round game against the Knicks. And hopefully she can bring the W vibe down there and get that W for us. You go, Monique. You go to the game. That's right. Joshua Monroe, thank you for the subscription, my guy. He's saying not everyone's going to get paid or extended, so this trade window is going to test Bobby in the front office about what future these players have and who deserves to stay. Yeah, this is pretty accurate. We got a glut at the 2 and the 3, the wing positions. And, some of these guys need to be upgraded or traded to get either better talent or we get a big. And I think that Josh is exactly right that this is a tryout time. And maybe part of the reason why some of these guys are floundering is they know that this is like this right now. And they're kind of folding a little bit under the pressure because it is hard. And they do know that these decisions are going to have to come at some point this season. Bobby already said on Open Gym that there will be changes to this team at some point during the season. We know that's going to happen. So we're just going to have to see how it all works out. And in some ways, these guys maybe get in their own heads because they really desperately want to do really well and they're not doing well. And then it just compounds itself. That's tough, man. So I want to be supportive towards Grady, Jacoby, Oshai, Jameson, everybody who's in these positions, everybody, and just hope the best man wins. And Bobby makes the best decision. That's the other thing. G's saying this, Lex, it's not dramatic. He has a bad back, period. He needs proper rest and rehabilitation. That's like playing on a sprained ankle and taking a few days off here and there. I know. I think it's just your wording. Sometimes I feel like the way we describe things or write it into words can make it sound way worse than it is. Now, Yak has told us that he doesn't think this issue is going to go away, that he really does have to just manage it. So we just got to hope and pray that he has more good days than bad. And, he's doing the right things. I know he is. He's an extremely professional guy. And he knows that he's going to do everything he can to keep his back in the best shape that he can. The best shape. I don't know if this cold weather is going to help him right now because this is really crazy cold in Canada right now. It's the -13 at my house, but it is like -1 down at town. So that's a little better. Most giving my cutoff. W stream, W vibes, go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Crew, strong forever. Just helping me limit the comments. That's right. Positive mindset, Raptors fans. That's right. Even amongst losing and things like this, and people hate losing and they overreact and act like little children. Don't be like that. Let's be mature. Let's look at it from a perspective that we're a work in progress, and this is a long season, and there's going to be ups and downs, and that they're just like in a game, there's runs where the other team goes on a run, then we go on a run. There's the same thing with teams winning and losing. And, well, we got to get out of this slide where we're losing more than we're winning and get back to winning more. That's right. I'm totally on that with you, Mo. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Shaq Lindsay saying Jacoby didn't get blocked. He missed an open layup and then turned around and blamed the referee because the air was too thick. Yeah, something weird happened there. Whatever it was, I said weak sauce in that moment. I was like, that's weak sauce. What is that? That was weak sauce, Walter. Weak sauce is what I called it. Neil's saying Oshai goes from a $6 million hit to the cap to a $19.2 million if he comes back next season. That's why many people bring up Oshai. We don't have $19 million to spare. Do you know these specific numbers exactly? How do you know that's how much he's going to get a year? Man, I don't know where you get this, man. Seriously. Cream saying this. I'm really going to be paying attention this team's energy against the Knicks on Tuesday. Yeah. We got to watch them. And in some ways, Darko, reward energy, reward effort, reward successful defensive prowess. Don't just reward guys because they make a lot of money. That's what I'm saying right there. Neil's saying this. BI is actually playing faster. However, he still needs to work on picking up his dribble. He had a better game last night. Let's just put it that way. He had a real stinker on Friday night, but he had to get better game last night, and he has to rest more. Honestly, that's what it is. I think he's just really tired, and he's got to make sure he gets to bed. He can't be staying up all night like he's been doing, man. He can't be staying up all night like he said after the game. It's like, some nights I don't sleep. Dude, go to sleep, man. Go to sleep. What do they call it? There's something you can serotonin or something. You could take some shit that can help you sleep, man. Make you sleep good. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. That Canadian saying, I like Oshai, but he isn't worth 19 million. I don't know where he got that figure. This is the new NBA. Mid-range guys like him don't make 19 million a year. Salaries are public information. Know that 19 million is just cap hold. The money is tracked on Sport Track. Melatonin. That's what I was talking about. No, I mean, I don't get where you get that number. If Gary Trent thought he was 15 million and he's getting paid 2 million, I don't understand where you get this number, Neil. This NBA ain't like this anymore. The middle class ain't like this. Oshai may be a 7 million a year player or something like that. I don't know. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what his price is exactly because of the market. And in some ways, it's determined by what other teams are willing to pay him and where they value him. Some of it is determined by other teams and guys that are of comparable stature and what they got paid. But this doesn't math to me. 19 million a year for Oshai. If somebody else wants to pay him that, go ahead, is what I would say right now. Go ahead. But I don't know where you got that figure. I don't know. You're saying it's cap hold? Well, that's just our team cap hold. What the fuck? Why are you gauging it by that? What if Oshai said, yeah, I'll come back to the Raptors for 10 million a year? I mean, seriously. It's a lot of supposing is what you're doing here, Neil. And I'm like, I don't appreciate it in some ways because it's like, where do you get this? Where do you get these numbers? Like, you're just coming off the top of your head? In some ways, I'm like, no, we're not going to fill our whole cap hold just to pay Oshai. That doesn't make any sense either, man. That doesn't make any sense. Most saying, I hear you about the food and beverage. Yeah. Yeah. These are little ways we can fight the fight, guys. Where you spend your money is important. And that's why I say straight goods on Canadian goods. Support Canada industry. Support Canada jobs. Support Canada products. Because elbows up and tariff wars. And in some ways, we want our country to be strong and sovereign on its own. We need to spend money in Canada on Canadian products with Canadian companies more than ever. And that's what I'm saying. We need to think about it from a human standpoint, too. We need to spend money on human things with human people involved more than ever instead of AI, instead of extra easy convenience. Oh, come in and just take it and use your card and swipe it. That's one of the biggest scams. That's part of the reason why they don't have the ATMs down there because they want a cashless society. You know why? Because when you just use the card and you tap, you're mindlessly spending money and you don't even really think about the gravity of it. You may even spend way more money than you ever did before and you didn't even realize it because there's no physicalness to it. You just take a card and tap something and all of a sudden they're gouging you in hidden ways and you don't even know it. Because it wasn't actually money in your hand that you handed to somebody and got change. That's part of the newest scam in the world. Cashless, it's a new way for people to scam. And that's why in some ways, when I go to Scotiabank, I want to use the ATM to get cash. Because if I pay with cash to most things, I'm avoiding and I'm understanding just to match how much money I'm actually spending. Because people will spend irresponsibly if they just have a tap card and they're just doing this and this all Christmas, buying Christmas gifts, and they didn't even fucking know how much debt they just put themselves in. So understand this about this whole system. Pick people and pick Canada. In fact, y'all, let's talk about ZA Cafe, Pizzeria, and Bar. It is actually on Bay Street, just up the street from the Scotiabank Arena at Richmond. It is an independent Toronto establishment. It's Canadian owned with local ingredient use and community present. It's a very, very big, high scale pizza place. ZA Cafe, Pizzeria, and Bar. It's at Richmond and Bay. And if you go to the game, you can walk up the street and go to it and eat after the game if you wanted to. So there's your straight goods on Canadian goods. ZA Cafe, Pizzeria, and Bar, Richmond and Bay. And I love the word ZA. It's the short form of pizza, right? And it's also one of the best two-letter words in Scrabble. If you can play ZA, that's how you play your Z. If you can get that ZA down on the board, you can make some major points. A little Scrabble knowledge there. That's right. Zaw Cafe, Pizzeria, and Bar. That's your straight goods on Canadian goods. Yeah. Local and Canadian products. That's right. Kareem saying, BI high scoring games reminds me of Donovan Mitchell. Empty calories, not dissing, just lots of points. Doesn't equate to wins. Yeah. That's the one thing I worry about with high usage guys that need a lot of shots is when do you become a detriment to the team and not really good for the team because the team's not as involved and you can score a lot, but we don't win. You're exactly right, Kareem. That's a trap. And that's why, in some ways, I don't look at the most talented guys like Donovan Mitchell and say, oh, these are guys who are winners. Because in some ways, they take away from their team. And I don't want Brandon to be that. I think there's a happy medium for Ingram where he could be not like Donovan Mitchell, maybe a little bit more of a team player, all around player like Scotty to a degree. In some ways, Brandon, do your Scotty impersonation. Seriously, go be like Scotty. Get shot blocks, go get steals, go get rebounds, go get assists, fill the stat sheet. Be Scotty, bro. If you could be like Scotty, I want Brandon to be like Scotty. If he could be like Scotty. All right, let's see. Neil saying this. Note that 19 million is just a cap hold. Okay, that's what you're saying there. All right, melatonin is what I meant. Thank you, Fiercey. Kareem saying, let Bobby do the accounting. I still don't know why people be watching other people's wallet. These guys balance checkbooks for NBA franchises. I'm sure they can legally fudge contract way or not. That's right. That's right. It's a cap hold. Okay. That Canadian saying, not to mention the rates on some credit cards and such. I'm telling you right now, they want you mindless and detached from the actual physical act of buying stuff. And that's where we get in trouble with debt. That's where we get in trouble with, spending money that you didn't even realize you spent it and you didn't need to. There's so many scams out there, whether it's like getting subscription services and forgetting to delete them or stop them, and you're paying monthly services to stuff you don't even use. Man, there's so many scams out there. People need to be very mindful of their money more than ever because economics of the world are going to get changed and it's going to be very tough and tight. And a lot of the luxuries people have, like, oh, spending frivolously on this guilty pleasure, you may need to stop that because things are going to get tight and you're going to need to be really on top of your expenses. I'm telling you right now, that's what's coming. I'm telling you right now. Most saying this, don't tell anyone, but I don't have to show my tickets anymore, et cetera, at game nights. I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you don't because you got that Tangerine portal and they know you. Everybody knows you. It's like Monique is a super fan. She just comes in the game and they're, hi, Monique, good to see you again. They expect you to be there, just like they expected me to be at the hotel this past 2 weeks. They're like, oh, you're here again. Yeah, you guys are getting to know me. Yeah, because I'm always here at the hotel. All the hotel workers know me at the hotel I was staying at because I was there so much. But that's like Mo. Everybody at Scotiabank Arena knows Mo. And in some ways, if she wants to come to the game, she can go to the game. Just trust me. She can. That's right. Neil's saying this. Each player affects your cap. And the cap hold is the minimum hit to salary cap if you want to keep the player. Right now, today we have 900,000 to work with before. Well, everything's going to change before the end of the year. So I don't know why we're trying to go by the rules that are right now. Because in some ways, all that stuff is going to change when Bobby makes the moves, and the layout and the terrain of what he's doing will look totally different when he does. And that's why I don't speculate on any of this shit. First of all, it's not interesting to me. Second of all, what's the point? We don't have any control over it. And in some ways, it's like we could get Logical Raptors fanatic in here, and he can explain it all to us very easily. But in some ways, I hate this side of it. I hate the money side of basketball. I like the basketball side of basketball. And I like to cover what happens on the court. And I don't give a shit about contracts to an extent. That's never something that's that important to talk about on this channel. At least to me, man. It's never that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Kareem saying, yeah, ZA and Key. Yeah, Key is a Vietnamese currency. QI. Those are the two. Yeah, Kareem knows. Those are the two right there because those are the 10-point letters. And you can be masterful at laying that key or that za on the board when you get those letters. Wee. The best is when you get a za, a Z on the triple letter score going two ways. If you have an A and there's an ARA on the board and that A is above, is below a triple letter score, woo-wee. You're getting triple 10 two ways. That's 60 points right there. Ha ha! Woo, you want to win some Scrabble? I could teach you how to win Scrabble. That's right. I'm a Scrabble professional. I say that. I'll say that because I think I can beat almost anybody at Scrabble if I really want to try, if I try and play them. because I am top notch. I've been playing Scrabble very actively for decades now, and I know that game inside out. So yeah, you want to play Scrabble with the Raptors freak, you're gonna go down. Seriously, I don't mess with me on Scrabble. That's right. I can give Scrabble tips too. I can teach people how to play Scrabble. If you want to play really good Scrabble, I can teach you. I can teach you. I'm a Scrabble instructor. That's right. I can do that. You guys want this part of the show, the Scrabble moment? There's Lex's tips on how to play Scrabble better. I don't know if there's a demand for that. I don't know. I won't put a poll up for that. Let's see. Neil saying this, getting the second apron, and it matters because you're penalized for trades and free agency once you get the second apron. I understand this, but Bobby knows this way better than us. And once again, I want to remind everybody who talks about the salary cap. The salary cap is not calculated or matter until the end of the season. So he can operate this whole entire year just above the apron and this and that. And he does a move at some point near the end of the season. And then boom, all of a sudden he gets right underneath it right at the end. So everything's speculating this or this and the salary cap. Oh my gosh, the Raptors are so high up with their salary and this and this. Who cares? Wait until the end of the season and see how Bobby balances it, because that's what he'll do. And that's the whole thing that nobody ever talks about. Mike said in the middle of summer, he said, everybody's freaking out about the salary cap and the Raptors right now when it's stupid because it doesn't matter or get paid or factor in until the end of the season. And let's see what Bobby does with his moves by then. He has time and he'll do this. Trust me. He'll get it right. He'll get it right. That's right. Yeah. Who the fuck follows the cap anyway? Logical Raptors fanatic. Blake Murphy. Yeah. These guys are following the cap. That's right. Yeah. People go over it all the time. It's worth being penalized. Yeah. I don't know. It just depends. Bobby's going to do what Bobby's going to do. And it's going to be the sound, best business decision. And I'm sure Ed Rogers II and Keith Pelly and MLSE will be very happy. Be very happy. Fuck you, Keith Pelly. I'll just say that for a second. Let's see. Dat Canadian saying, I'm in the middle. I try to watch the games, but also watch the money side. Well, the money side is changing so much every year. Like the money gets increased all the time. And it's just really the rules of how to handle the salary cap and the ways that it may have worked in the past go all out the window all the time. Like it really is something that changes drastically all the time. And the whole money landscape of the NBA is not static. And you need a capologist, a genius like Bobby Webster as your GM. Because once again, I'll remind all the Raptors fans out there, Bobby Webster was a wonderkind in his early 20s. He worked for the NBA head office in the 2000s under Adam Silver and David Stern, not Daniel Stern from Home Alone, David Stern. He worked for David Stern. And he basically what Bobby's job was in his early 20s was he taught the cap to the GMs of the NBA. He was a NBA front office employee. He did not work for a team, and he knew the cap so well that he'd go to teams like the Celtics, like the Spurs, like the Heat, and he'd go to their teams and teach them how to do the cap. And this is when he was in his 20s, y'all. I don't understand why people are so worried about the cap with us. When we literally got the cap genius wonderkind as our GM, the dude who was teaching the old GMs of the NBA how to do the cap before he was even a GM. I'm serious. This is the damn truth. You don't believe it? Go look it up. Bobby Webster used to work for Adam Silver in the head office as a capologist expert, and he taught the NBA GMs how to do the cap. Why are we worried about this? He understands this stuff, the ins and outs, better than almost all the other GMs in this league. We have an advantage because Bobby's like this. It's like Alex McKechnie is to sports medicine as Bobby Webster is to the cap. I wish people would understand this. So let's stop talking about the cap and just let Bobby do his specialty. It seriously is his specialty, is managing and balancing everything and being creative with how he does things and the timing how he does things and the amount of how he does things and getting the best out of this and also keeping a flexible position to be able to move in a lot of directions as he needs to, when he needs to. So yeah, let's just trust in Bobby, just like we trusted in him for 12 years now, just like we trusted in him and Masai at the same time, because they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Neil saying this, if we had salary room, there's no way AJ Lawson is on a two-way. That's why we're not using the 15th roster spot. I still think we're not using the 15th roster spot because Ulrich Shamshay's name is written on it on the down low, and we need to re-add him back when he gets cleared. Most saying this, I'm excited for tomorrow. Yeah, I would be too. You need to start getting your hype up now. Preparation. Raptors, you need to be in your mental places today to prepare for tomorrow. And Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Cat and the Knicks in a very, very important game in Scotiabank Arena. That's right. That's right. Fiercey saying, now I want to buy a Scrabble. Fiercey, as a Francophone, in some ways, it's interesting because sometimes I want to play French words. This happened yesterday. My dad and I were playing a speed game before we went to the game, which is crazy. We don't take any time to make moves. We just put things down as quickly as possible. And we played a game in 25 minutes. That's how quick we played. A full Scrabble game in 25 minutes. Most games are going to take an hour at least, if not a little bit more. We played a game in 25 minutes yesterday, and I want to put the word ICI down. I was like, man, my dad's like, that's a French word, man. You can't put that down there. So that's the thing. If you're going to play Fiercey, you make up the rules for yourself. If you want to play French words, you can. You can, but just make sure people know that. But if you want to learn more English words and you want to play English style Scrabble, you can do that too. So, and you could even play the hybrid where you can play both kinds of words if you want to. It's up to you how you play the rules. But technically, it's supposed to be English words. But I've seen people play French. And in some ways, if you want to learn more English words, this is a great way to do it for sure. For sure. Cream saying we might have to create a Scrabble section on Discord. Laugh out loud. I'm also a great Scrabble player. Listen, maybe we need to have a Raptor Freak get together, a Scrabble tournament or something like that. We're going to have the Raptor Freak Scrabble tournament next summer, and we'll all get together and we'll be Scrabble nerds. And I'll be like, yeah, Cream Thomas, you're going down. I'm going to beat you down with my tiles. Yeah, that might be fun. Seriously. Shaq Lindsay saying, I treat my debit card like my relationship with my wife. Tap responsibly because I can't afford any more kids. That's hilarious. All right, you're getting a dunk, Shaq Lindsay. That is hilarious. I mean, financial responsibility is a really important thing in this world today. No lie. Shaq Lindsay, you're hilarious for saying that. 147 for Shaq Lindsay this year, man. He's been such a prominent member of the Raptor Freaks, and I just really appreciate his time spent with us this year, man. Big ups to a member of the channel, Shaq Lindsay. 147. Hilarious, man. That Canadian said, I can't even afford 2/3 of those things you just said. You guys are hilarious. All right, that Canadian, you want a dunk too. All right, I'll give you a dunk too for piggybacking on that. All right. Yeah, I know kids are expensive from what I've heard, and I don't have any. So that's part of my financial plan is, all right, I don't have kids. I don't have to worry about it. That Canadian, you're not on here, bro. I have not given you a dunk ever. That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. All right, you're getting at it right now. This guy is getting his dunk right now. All right, 3 dunks, 3 points for that Canadian right there. Boom goes the dynamite. All right, let's look. Let me look at my tabs and start working through them. Raptors Reddit, dare I look at you? I really think you guys are crazy. They're asking about what's the deal with AJ Lawson. He's so good. Why isn't he playing? It's like a lot of people are saying this right now. Why is he not playing? And now they're going on about Brandon Carlson again. Come on, man. Why are you bringing up Brandon Carlson at this point? That's stupid, man. There's the comeback against Dallas that we were talking about on the stream today. There's somebody on Reddit's bringing up that when Kyle Lowry and Chris Boucher and Rondé Hollis-Jefferson came back from Dallas, they didn't put the starters back in, Darko. And they came back. He kept them in to finish the job, is what Reddit's saying right here. There you go. Somebody's asking, would you accept Gary Trent Jr. back to the Raptors? I don't know, man. In some ways, it's like I'm not about going back in the past. I'm more about going in the future. And that's definitely somebody from our past, right? Gary Trent Jr. Let's see. What else is going on? Is there anything on Blue Skies? Not really. I saw Karthika at the game last night at courtside. It was cool to see her. She's awesome. I didn't talk to her. I just saw her. Y'all, we had our 7th week of fantasy went down, and these are the results from yesterday's final day. If you have a team, get ready for the next week. It's the 8th week of our season. James beat Andrew in the end. We had HC keeping his perfect record of 7-0, beating Amit. Meredith beat Mike. Kaz won his matchup against Nins. Jason Dukes beat Omari. We had Fiercey in getting her 2nd win of the year over Kareem, who's 0-7. Kareem, you're 0-7, my guy. Bryce lost to Gerald. And then I beat Cool Cat this week. So yeah, that's the results from our Yahoo Fantasy Raptor Freak Basketball League. Hopefully you have your team lineup set up and you're going to battle again, once again. That's right. Let's see. Classic card. Let's go to there. Let's go to there. That's the next thing. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, wait, you guys put in some more comments. Let me read them real quick. Kareem saying, yeah, people fuss about salary cap all the time, and then the goalposts keep on getting pushed back. And if you Google it, almost half the NBA are operating the second apron. So why are we worried about it now? Gaslighting, chicken littling. It honestly shouldn't even be a conversation in Raptors Nation. Once again, I'll say what I said. We got Bobby. He's taking care of it all. You got, you're in good hands with Allstate. Okay, we'll just say that. I don't get it. And like you said, that's a very important point, Kareem. The posts keep moving. The cap is ever fluid and flexible. The cap of today is not the cap of tomorrow. And that's what we all need to remember right now. The TV deals are huge and the money's increasing. The idea that Emmanuel's too overpaid or something like that is crazy because we're in the Amazon Prime Peacock era and the money is a lot different coming in the NBA at this point. That's right. That's right. That Canadian saying, don't worry, the big kid in my life, I see him in the mirror every day. Yeah. This guy too. That's one thing. I would say this. If I ever had a kid, I wouldn't be doing this channel because I'd embarrass the hell out of my kid, right? In some ways, look, Lex, you're off the hook. You don't have any kids to embarrass. You could say crazy shit. You can cuss. You can really be exactly yourself. If I had kids, I'd have to be different. I'd have to grow up more. And that, in some ways, that's the gift and the benefit of me being childless is that I can do the Raptor Freak channel. If I had kids, I would not be doing this channel, guys. So in some ways, there's part of the positive right there. There's part of the positive right there. That's right. I can be a big kid every morning at 9:30 and be a fan of the Raptors. That's right. Kareem saying that's when Matt Devlin kept saying, don't Pokemon the bear about Lowry, that amazing comeback versus Dallas. Yeah, that was an amazing game. And yeah, I wanted us to come back last night in a similar fashion, but it did not happen. Did not happen. Dad Canadian saying Gary Trent Jr., one of the few people I wouldn't mind taking a chance on. He's not going to ask for a lot of money, and it wasn't a Dragic situation. No, he loves the city, and we love him too. He's a good standing alumni, but some people are saying he's washed. Like in some ways, some of the Bucks fans are saying he lost his defensive stuff that he had in Toronto, and in some ways, he's still the streak shooter he always was. I'm just saying, once again, you guys, we get nostalgic and good feelings about people like Chris or Gary, and we want them back just out of old feelings. And in some ways, it's not the right move. It's not the right move. Very rarely should players return to teams later in their career. You know, very rarely. It has to be because it makes sense, and not just because it's nostalgic. Not just because it's nostalgic. Shaq Lindsay saying, I'm not worried about the luxury tax anymore because my wife keeps spending. Well, that's the thing. In some ways, he has to be the way he is just because she may be going crazy. I get that. I get that. That's another problem I ain't got either. Is like I ain't got a spouse who's spending money in other ways around me that are kind of, you know, Adriana's got her own money. And well, she spends it the way she likes to spend it. That's for sure. That's for sure. That's right. Cream saying this, Shaq, that is a 100 pointer only because I can relate. I felt that comment burn through my wallet and sting my ass. Congratulations, Shurs. All right. You want to give him 100 points? The dunk champion is going to give Shaq Lindsay 100 dunks right now. And I'm going to give Kareem one too for being so benevolent like Isaac Campbell. So Shaq Lindsay, you're going to get 100 points added to your dunk total now. Where is he? He's going to go to 247 really fast because, you know, I like what he said and it's hilarious. And Kareem feeling the pain through his wallet through to his ass. That's kind of hilarious what he just said too. So Kareem Thomas, you're getting the next dunk and you are very close to getting the 300 now. You are now at 296. 296. Can this man get the 4 points to get the 300 before the end of this month? I think he's likely to. All right, let's do that classic card, guys. Let's do that classic card. Yeah, let's see. Oh, wait, you guys wrote in some more. Neil saying the teams in the second apron cannot take in higher salaries in a trade. They are blocked. This is how Silver believes he can stop super teams. I like it. I like that system, and I think he's right. And I'm for it. Dad Canadian saying, I still think Mark Cuban's my favorite person recently. Bro gets bankrolled to come back and fix the mistakes Nico and company did. Well, Mark Cuban's been a minority owner of the Dallas Mavericks this whole entire time. he was told when they changed ownership, when he sold the team, that he would still get to do that job, and they kind of screwed him over and put Nico in there. And then it became a Nico versus Mark thing, and then Nico got fired, and now Patrick is saying, "Yeah, Mark, can you help us?" In some ways, he's not really getting paid. He's just still a part owner, and he's a consultant. He doesn't have final say. They're not allowing him to make the final decision, but they are asking him what he thinks. That's basically what it is. So, all right, let's see. What card am I getting today? Okay, we'll do this one. All right, y'all. Here's the classic card of the day. I need the full name answer for this card. Please give me a full name answer on this card. If you can see who it is and write in the answer. Oh, this is an interesting picture of him. Look at what his face is doing. Oh, let's see. Let's see. He's saying, Dakinese, I know he doesn't have final say, but considering how much he made off his share, I'm sure he can walk away anytime. Thomas Bryan is right. Kareem Thomas got it. Thomas Bryan is right. Well, it's the fact is, it's like Larry Tannenbaum. He never left ownership. It's just that his pie of the ownership is smaller. So he's never actually not left the Mavericks. It's just that he didn't have a say in anything in the last year or so, is what it is. But yeah, I don't know how much he made, but he kept some of the shares. He's still part owner. But yeah, he probably did make a good penny off of it for sure. For sure. Yeah, he's a Thomas. Of course you got it right. Reckless Bryant. You call him Reckless? Why is that? Okay, so this is kind of a difficult card. So I'm going to give 100 points to Kareem for Thomas Bryant. Yeah, and it is kind of funny that Kareem gets a guy who has the name Thomas in his name. So it's not the same part of the name though, Kareem. But 100 points for you for Thomas Bryant card. Yeah, because it's not a totally big, huge star, right? All right, where am I with my time? I need to get going, and because it's cold out here, I want to get out of here. Ooh, it's almost 2.5 hours. All right, there you go, guys. So yeah, let's not overreact to the losing lately. Let's understand that there's different parts of the year, just like in a game where there's runs where the Raptors are going to look better and they're not going to look better. And we're just kind of in a losing skid right now. But we can fix this real fast if we can win against the Knicks tomorrow. And I hope these guys come way more prepared for this huge game on Tuesday than they have been coming to these last few games. It's been very dismal, really annoying. And Darko, please consider playing the guys that are giving you the good effort and making the winning ways happen on the court, and not just having a static, I'm ending the game with the guys with the big contracts. In some ways, you want to have that merit system where you're rewarding certain players for things they do during the game to go above and beyond. Who knows? Maybe Grady Dick will wake up if he knows if he kicks so much ass, he can actually play the last 5 minutes of the game. So we need a meritocracy with the Raptors right now. And in some ways, the merit is found in effort, defense, going after loose balls, rebounding, closing out on three-point shooters. That's where the effort is. It's not necessarily the effort on offense. If it's a lazy ass early shot clock three with nobody underneath the basket, we don't want that. That's not what we want. We want a good offense that moves the ball around and a bunch of people touch the ball and they find the best high percentage shot from working the ball around. That's what we need right there. That's right. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Fiercely saying, Lex, have you seen Desmond Bane literally throw the ball at OG yesterday? Yeah, I did see that highlight. And that's frustration. That's a man who's suffering from OG-itis, and his symptoms are showing anger and aggression. That's it right there. But I love OG bopped up and got in his face about it right away. Some people are saying that was the play to keep the ball in possession for the Magic by hitting him out of bounds on it. I don't even think the way I look at it is that shouldn't have been out on OG, because the last person who touched the ball while they were in bounds was Desmond Bane. And just because OG was sitting outside the sideline and he got hit with the ball, I feel like that call wasn't right. That should have been out of bounds on Orlando, not out on the Knicks. That was a weird play. And, well, I guess Anunoby will be available and playing against us tomorrow. Yikes. All right, yeah. You don't think Thomas Bryant's a clean player? I don't know. I've never thought he's extra dirty or anything like that. He's just like any other player in the league. He plays physical and he does what he does. I don't know. I don't give him that brand. There's other guys that are way more dirty in this league. I just have never branded him with that. I've never branded him that. Yeah. Yeah. Just like dirty Gabe Vincent. I swear that guy's on steroids. Gabe Vincent is definitely a dirty player. Definitely a dirty player. Gabe Vincent, Jalen Brunson, those guys are dirty for sure. Yeah. Bane and OG hugged it out. Good. Good. I'm glad to hear they figured it out. That's right. That Canadian saying, didn't Bryant have that one good meme clip a while back? Well, he's a champion. He was on the Nuggets when they won the championship, right? So I don't know. I like Thomas Bryant. I seen him at Rico Runs running with the Raptors a couple summers ago, and he just seems like a good dude. Honestly, if he was on our team right now, he'd help with our problem with the backup big. Some people said, "Well, you can get Thomas Bryant on the Raptors." Well, because the Pacers have him, and they have him right now. He's under contract. I don't know. All right, guys. Either way, I'm getting close to 2.5. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream this morning, reacting to the loss to the Celtics yesterday. I had a fantastic time at the game yesterday. It was a blessing, and I feel so grateful that I got to go to the game with my dad and share the experience and have a good time with him in the arena and feel that energy. And well, tomorrow, big time game. I'll have the preview tomorrow against the Knicks. I'll have the refs in the morning and the lay of the land with the injuries. And hopefully we'll hear good news about RJ this afternoon. That's what we're hoping. All right, stars of the game. Once again, for my stars of the game last night, Scotty Barnes, Sandro Mamukelashvili, Oshai Abaji, AJ Lawson, and Brandon Ingram are my 5 stars of the game for last night. All right, y'all. Have a great day. If you want some pizza, go to Za Pizzeria and Bar at Richmond and Bay, a great Canadian pizza restaurant. Thank you fiercely for that. I hope y'all have a fantastic Monday. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors.